Now, now I think where we supposed to be. Player pimp of all. Oh my Lord! Now you don't got no audio.
Calm down, Jimmy. Calm down, Jimmy.
This shit's crazy.
Before we get maybe before we get now we got. I don't know what happened, but I usually stream it out to the Super Bowl six Skip Talkers page, the podcast page, the competition page, and on YouTube. And for some reason, there was a couple pages that weren't. I thought we got sabotaged, man. I thought, hey Jimmy, I thought we got sabotaged. I seen like 5 people, and then people were texting me like, "Where's the damn show? Where's the damn show?
Yeah,
What'd you guys do the show?" I'm like, "Oh Lord, here we go." So
that
thank God we good. We good to go. I see some people piling in. That's a good thing. Let me get situated. Go ahead, have at it while I update some stuff over here. Make sure I get the comment section and see who's popping in, see who's showing up,
it's
and
crazy.
we
That's
gonna
that's
we gonna get it popping, man.
Yeah, we back on track. I don't know if you got. I don't know if you can hear me real good, but we're gonna rock on with this. So, what I was saying before we switched and we got on the right platform here to where we could take off is we were talking about the competition and what we're going to do and what our plans are with the competition and the reason we're going to have to probably postpone for a week or two on the competition. It's because of Skip. So people building back up in here. They're saying, "Hey, what the hell is he talking about? What the hell is he talking about?" All we're going to do is you can't have a competition if you don't have Skip. You got to have Skip. So what we got to do is we got to check it out. We got to investigate this, look into this a little deeper. And when you do a competition like this, it's all on a chance of where things are jumping. You got a forecaster out there, and where we're at in the region, in Region 3, where we are. Those guys have Skip. They just don't have the amount of Skip that you need to run a competition. So what we might have to
Sure.
do is we might have to just kind of like postpone for a week, 2 weeks, make sure that we're exactly where we need to be. And if we have to, we can jump. We can jump because I think it's what it's going to do. It's in between Region 3 and Region 4 of what we had laid out as a group here. So we might end up having to jump to 4 and then come back to 3. So there's nothing going to get all the names are accounted for. All you guys put all the names in. We got all those names. We'll be in touch with you guys through the podcast or through the competition, probably just on text and the competition page, and we'll keep you guys up to date of what's going on. And this is a no brainer. I mean, everybody knows about what the Skip's doing. People are sitting around, they're watching it, they're forecasting it too. So it just is what it is. That's really about all I got. Is we're going to just try
Yeah,
to
yeah.
keep everybody up and maybe take a halt, 1 week, 2 week halt or whatever until this thing sorts out.
Man, you got to go where the skip is at. You got to go where the skip is at now. Past 3 4 days since we announced Region 3, Skip just pretty much down here in Florida died out pretty much, and all I hear is a little bit of Blue Waters. I can hear a couple of guys from Oklahoma like Stormy Weather and them were talking to the Blue Waters. I heard the guys in Louisiana talking to Blue Waters, but it's getting ready to shift because I got Northeast Corner the other day, and I got Louisiana, so it's getting ready to change up. So we're just gonna roll where the skip is going. We're not gonna go to a region when there ain't no skip. So we're gonna give it a week, maybe a couple days, and see where it goes, and we'll make an announcement. But until then,
Right.
just stay tuned. But we still gonna do it. The show must go on.
Show will go on. Show will go on, and the chips will they'll lay where they fall. That's just how it's going to go in this game. But that's pretty much it. That was the main thing. We was coming into this podcast this Friday night, and we was going to do an update with you guys Wednesday, but we just said, hey, you know what? There's really no need for an update. We'll just address it. It is what it is. There's nothing that we can do in this game. But I tell you what, I do want to do tonight. And I want to mention this very early on to where you guys can think about this, and then towards the end, we're going to get you to do a 1 and a 2 vote in the room with all the people in the room here. The ones who want the voting, to go to anonymous vote, you'll put a 1 in the room. The people that like the way we had this voting set up to where you can see the voting, you guys are going to put a 2 in the room. if you want it to leave, if you want to leave it like we got it right now. But you guys that keep calling and keep keep trying to put your opinion in. Okay, well here's your opinion right here. Your opinion's getting voiced right here. If you want this, if you want this voting, if you guys want this voting to go away to where you don't see who's voting for you and make it completely anonymous, you guys come in here and put a 1 in the room. That's the one you want to do. Y'all can throw the 1s up now or the 2s up now, or you can do it at the end. It don't matter, But I'm seeing a lot. I don't know about you, 413, but I'm seeing all 2s. I'm seeing all 2s over here.
Twos. Which one? I'm kind of slow. There's a lot of us see beers that are slow. So 2 is what?
2 is 2 is you if you want to leave it the way it is. 2 leave it the way
okay.
it is.
And the reason, I could understand, I know I've been getting a lot of phone calls, be like, listen, man, I got a couple friends, that are keying up, and I really don't want to, I want them to know that I'm, voting for such and such. So now they don't want to vote because they don't want to offend their friends. But we kind of did that so it could be transparent, so people could see who's voting. Because if you do it anonymously, then people won't know where the votes are coming from, who's voting, and then you're going to hear, oh, Vinny and Jimmy are stacking the votes for such and such person.
I know.
So that's why that was the main reason. I mean, you damn if you do, damn if you don't. Yeah, Mickey's. I'm about to get one, but you're damn if you do, damn if you don't. We try to make it transparent so people can see who's voting, and then we still get flack. And then if we do it anonymously, they're gonna be like, well, you guys are stacking the votes. So like I said, like Jimmy said, if you want it the way it is, keep a number 2. If you want to change it to anonymous voting, go to number 1, and we'll switch it up. Ain't no problem. It's what you guys want. I'm seeing a whole bunch of 2s. I think New Kid in the background, and then Jude and Eric in the back. They could tally it up. But man, it looks like it's hands down 2s.
Yeah, all 2s. We can move on from that shit. Hey, but I was gonna get a good trip out of getting all them phone calls and be like, just like this. You and Vinny, y'all are fucking them votes up. I know it. Y'all are adding something to them votes, and then you hang the phone up. You got to go to sleep, right? But anyways, it is what it is. I seen all 2s. It's staying the way it is, but that's how I like to do it. That's why this thing's set up on real time, real live. You mess up, you do just what we did right then and there. You pick your pants back up and you go on about yourself at the end of the day, and you take off. And that's just what we did. We showed right here, right now, in front of everybody what the people want. So the people like it the way it is, and that's how it's going to stay. But I wanted to definitely throw that out there, and just get you guys' opinion on it and see where you guys are sitting on that, though.
Yeah, for sure. I've seen a whole bunch of 2s, man. So it looks like somebody put a 3. Somebody put a damn 3.
You'll get some 3s. 3s are all of the above. That's what the 3s are.
Is that what it is? Okay, they're just going with the flow with whatever. That's
okay.
Cool. I see Prime's up in here. Who else we got? We got Double Nickel. What's going on, fellas? Shout out to everybody joining the room. Appreciate y'all joining us tonight. We were a little bit late because we had a little technical difficulties to where, I don't know, for some reason it wouldn't publish to the room. So we just restarted and starting with a fresh slate. So welcome everybody back to the Big Hammer podcast. We're glad you joined us. We appreciate the support. I don't know about you, but Jimmy, the bowl's been popping, some negative, some positive, but the good thing is everybody's talking. So that's a good thing in my eyes, no matter what it is, people are talking. People that I haven't heard in years are coming out the woodworks. Hell, people from other channels are coming down to the bowl and talking, So to me, that's a good thing. We're just trying to, we set out to get the bowl popping, and it's working. So
the bowl is jumping, man. The bowl is jumping. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And that's what we intended to do, is have fun with this, enjoy it, and move on and let it get going. And I just got a text, by the way, so you're looking at that text also, but it is what it is, man. we're going to take off. We're going to keep doing what we're going to do. The only thing we're going to do different is we're going to pull back and we're going to watch this competition. We're going to see exactly if we need to jump from region 3 to region 4 and come back to 3 and take a 1 week or a 2 week pause and see what's up, because we can't run a competition like this in the way the skip is. So, like I say, everybody's filling up in here. They're seeing what's up. And I'm trying to repeat myself the way everybody catches it, where you don't have to do third-party information and shit. You're getting it straight from the horse or whatever. So what we're thinking about doing is just pulling back for 1 week, 2 weeks, giving the competition a little bit more to see what Skip's going to do and see if we're going to have to jump from 3 to 4, then come back to 3. Nothing's going to be lost with all the voters and the names that they put in. If we have to move from 3 to 4 to the 4th region, unfortunately, you guys don't know what the 4th region is, but we do. And it was a very, very hard decision to stay with 3 or go with 4, vice versa or whatever. But that's what you do in this game. You take chances, and somebody's got to be forecasting, where we're going next. So it's kind of, it can get, a little hectic and a little crazy, because at the end of the day, you cannot determine what Mother Nature is going to do. She's going to show you what she's going to do. But that's pretty much it as far as where I'm at. Negativity, I'm not really focused on the negativity. We got so much positive stuff overriding the negativity. I ain't even trying to make nobody famous tonight. So we got a great show. If we can get on with it and get everything kind of wrapped up and capped up here, we got some really super great guests tonight that's up in the building with us. And we can get on with it. I guess we're going to take off. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let them all know that Fireball's up in the building with us. And, Fireball, a lot of talk about this guy, Fireball, man. I mean, this guy, I mean, it's crazy, man, because I've gotten so many phone calls over this one dude, man. I really did. And the Cali, the whole situation with Cali. Hey, Fireball did a good job. Fireball stayed in there. He shined on the main thing that we were looking for was the consistency. And I want to put this out there too, not to try to tie the mic up, but I just got things that's popping in my head because, people's called or whatever. And they're like, Jimmy, there's certain things that's happening with the bowl and you got to,
Yep. Jimmy Dunk got kicked out, but look like we got a solo. I'm gonna have to run solo again for a little bit, but yeah. That's speaking of what Jimmy said. A lot of things are going on with the with the bowl. A lot of negativity going on, but it's all good, man. I'm gonna bring. Let me see who I'm gonna do here, because I know Jimmy done lost service over here. We've been having a lot of technical difficulties today, man. We usually are pretty good with it, but let me see. Kid backstage, you want to come on with me real quick? I'm gonna bring you in. There you go. You go, new kid.
What's
Hey,
going
kid,
on?
what's going on, man? Ain't nothing much. Yeah, like we were talking with Jimmy and about the region, and he made a good point. We can't go to a region where there's no skip, so
No,
that's what
no.
there he goes.
It'd be good. We'll take, like I said, we'll pause it until we can get forward. Here he comes.
No, I don't know what this whole damn night's jacked up. You know what? Hey, I got knocked out, but I got back in really quick. I don't know what you guys was talking about, but you know what? I'm ready to get on with the damn Fireball, and I'm ready to get this ass out here and take this thing to third gear, because for some reason tonight we are definitely stuck in first gear and second gear and can't get past this. But a lot of people.
You see, Jimmy, you're irreplaceable. You see that? I pop new kid in a second.
Everybody's replaceable.
I know.
Everybody.
If I go 10-7, I know you put new kid back in there too. So that's the alternate right there.
Hey, I'm glad new kid was right here available and ready to take off. But listen, they ain't but one damn Jimmy and they ain't but one damn new kid. So just remember that. So, but there's a lot of phone calls that's coming in. They're saying this and they're saying that. But at the end of the deal, a lot of people are getting the hammer tricked up. And let me run over this real quick again for the 40th time. Just because the hammer's called the Big Hammer Show does not mean we're looking for the biggest hammer. We were never really looking for the biggest hammer. We were looking for consistency. We were looking for game talk, bring swagger, the consistency of being out there and being to run every day.
Yeah.
You look back on the competition. Region 1, Big Boss, Mobile, stayed out there. Region 2, hey, hats off to them guys.
I put it to a liking of, and a lot of guys said, man, it's a big hammer. I just go over there and key 3 or 4 times and I got the hammer on them. It don't work like that. The way we set it up was kind of like a beauty pageant. You're not just going for the pretty face. You're going to go for the bathing suit. You're going to go for the nightgown, and then you're going to go for, whatever questions they ask. So it's kind of like a criteria to where, of course you got to be out there talking and kind of somewhat be dominant. You know what I mean? That's kind of like the number one. You got to go out there and be dominant. You can't just go out there and just talk all damn day. You got to be, doing some good stuff. But that's pretty much what we base it on.
You got somebody in the comment there saying you can't even say that because you don't decide. We're not saying that because we decide. We're saying that out loud to where the viewers will know what we're looking for out of this competition, what we were expecting for out of this competition. That's what he's more or less saying and trying to get out there. A lot of guys was thinking, since it was the Big Hammer show, that it's all about the hammer, it's all about the watch, it's all about cutting radios off and this and that, because that's what a lot of people had said. A lot of people said, hey man, I was doing this and I was doing that, with this opponent. And I said, listen, it all goes by the people's vote, man. I said, man, listen, maybe your ego is bigger than your damn hammer. I don't know. I said, but them people vote. And you see the people, they want that shit to stay on number 2. How many number 2s you got in the room tonight? Did you see that shit, kid?
Yeah, it was all number 2s.
All them number 2s. So everybody wants that to stay the same.
There's nothing wrong with it. Leave it open. I say leave it open. I mean, what has anybody got to hide, really? You shouldn't be ashamed to vote for somebody.
Yep,
So,
but the problem.
The issue I have is with the complainers that are complaining that the voting should be a certain way. I go down and I scroll down, and those people that are complaining didn't even vote. So why are you putting input if you're not even voting? I mean,
that's what a lot of people don't understand either. Us being admins of the group, we can see all the activity from each individual person, what they post, where they posted, if they've left a comment. So we know if you're not even active. So that's the part that, the negativity, and then no, nothing at all, no input whatsoever. It's not a big deal. Like Jimmy said, everybody keeps getting it misconstrued about the Big Hammer, but that's not really what it's about. We opened it up for everybody, because if we were going to just do it for the Big Hammer shit, then we could just go around and, go and give Bad Attitude or pimp the trophy and go to Texas and give it to one of the big guys there, go to 766, give it to him. I mean, what fun is that? I mean, that ain't really no fun. We're trying to have fun with this. That's all. People are taking it way too serious, though, man. Way too serious.
Yeah, they rough. My phone's blowing up. They're saying, man, get Fireball's ass out.
Well, come on, bring him on out of here. Let's go. Let's get it on.
Hey, you know what, Fireball, man. This guy, man, is a character, man. This guy here, he is what I call good for the game. After kind of talking to him on the 21 and getting to know him a little bit, vocally, he's good for the radio game. But a lot of people, man, you got to stay up with YouTube, man. A lot of people, they was calling me, they was talking to me, they're like, Fireball this and Fireball that. He's a mud duck, but he's this, he's that. I said, listen, man, you better go back and see what Fireball did about 13, 14 years ago, and then come back and see what Fireball's doing now. Fireball did an excellent job. Fireball he started with a ground plane. I think I talked about it on the last cast. Started with a ground plane and then transversed like overnight, like within 2 months or 3 months, and then came right back, and then boom, we're already here. And now we're here, and he's done taking the 20, the region 2 of 23, competition, and done ran with it. So we got Fireball up in the building. And 413, we can go ahead and get him out here and get him going, man. We can take off with this.
Hey, whatever you want to do. That's what you want to go first. I got a special guest in the backstage too. I can see him napping back there though, so we can do whatever you want to do.
I'll go hang with the special guest. You guys pull Fireball out, man.
Okay, appreciate it, kid, for filling in, man.
Cool. You guys have.
Oh man,
you like Dirty Harry on that damn trigger, man.
PC, man, this thing. I left kid on the mall. My bad.
Yeah, you left me up in there.
Yeah,
thanks, kid. We'll get back with you in a minute.
Yeah, you bring kid in, you bring kid out. Well, I don't know what kind of PC you got. What do you got? What kind you got? You got a Dell, a Hewlett Packard, a Acer?
I got an Acer, bro. I got some good stuff, man. You touch it, it was right there. That's why I was like, I don't know what was going on that I didn't, I published it in like 4 rooms, but I don't know what the hell happened. But we in there. We got about 100, 110 people in there that join us right now. So everybody, welcome to the podcast. Hopefully we got a couple things straight, in terms of the voting and what we're going to do with the Region 3. We can't chase Skip, so we're going to give it a week or 2 and see where Skip's going to roll for those guys that just popped in. And what you want to do? You want to bring the guests, or you want to bring on Fireball out and let's get it going?
Well, we started off with the champions last on. Stay with the champions. Bring them. Get them. Get Fireball's ass out here. Pull Fireball's ass out here and let's take off.
Let me drag him. Let me drag him out here. Hold on, man. There you go. There it is.
Does the microphone work?
It's working.
Hell yeah, the microphone works.
Okay, I just want to make sure everything works before you put me on. I checked it all out.
Yeah, Mr. Small Drivers 10K shootout. Jesus.
Hey, look, in 2009, who would get this shirt right here in 2009 if I'm a mud runner? Huh? It says 2009. Oh, yeah, Fireball's new.
Yeah, Fireball.
It says Fireball's a new guy. He's just a new guy. It's all these new guys who don't know who I am.
But if they don't know who you are, they gonna know who you are tonight. After that's tonight,
right. Yes, that's correct.
They gonna know who you are. 413. Do you remember Fireball from back in the day when he was out there with the Mobile?
Oh yeah, absolutely. In 2009, I got out of it for about 2 years. I was from in the Mobile till about 2009 when I sold my Suburban to a guy up in Jacksonville, and I was out from 9 to 11. Then I came back in 11. But I remember him. I remember then he went by John Denver, and he went to another channel. I believe it was 28. Correct?
Yeah, that's because I got bored of the bowl. I got bored of coming out there Saturdays and Sundays, talking to everybody, the same people, and whipping the same guys. Nobody would even be talking. So I was like, you know what? There's got to be other things. And 4040 called me on the phone, like in, I don't remember, 2012, 2010, somewhere around there. He called me. He said, hey, Fireball, go to channel 28. I go, there's nobody on 28. He goes, they're skipping on your channels other than 6. I go, no, there's not. That's not what I heard. All the skip is right here on channel 6. There ain't nothing nowhere else on any other channel. He says, go to 28. I'll cut your radio off. Man, I went up there and I was like, okay. I was listening to my radio when I just pulled in from talking all day long, just talking all day in my Mobile. Came back Sunday evening, 4040 was out there, and I was listening to John Denver on the radio in my truck. I just keyed up my little radio, and I had a 12-pin in the truck. I said, John Denver, over here in San Diego. Everybody called me. After that, I was like, wow, okay. There's more on other channels other than 6.
Fireball, we got you too fast, Fireball. We got to back this up, Fireball. Hey, Fireball, I want to go all the way back, man. Forget 13, 14 years ago when you had that badass base killing Mobile. Forget all that. Forget all that. Let's go back early teens. How, we're gonna get an interview. We're gonna slow you down, Fireball. See, a lot of folks don't understand you. We're gonna slow you down a little bit. And I can relate with you. I'm ADHD off the chain myself, so I can vibe with you. We're gonna stick together. We're gonna get through this shit right here. We're gonna learn who Fireball is. So let's go all the way back when did you come into radio? What got you involved into the radio? Said, hey, I'm going to have a CB name and I'm going to talk on the radio, and what channel am I going to, kind of thing.
Okay.
Take us that away.
Well, I got my handle before the radio. My handle, me and my brother, we used to have the Commodore 64, and we used to go to chat rooms. My brother was Sniper, and I was Fireball. A couple years later, I got in a car accident. I got in a real serious car accident where I almost crashed and almost died. And I was laid up for a long time during school, and probably about 15, when I was about 15 years old. And my dad, he put a little power supply in my bedroom and took a pair of vice grips on the Toyota truck, and he put the little coax outside the window, put a K40 on a pair of vice grips, and we were talking on the radio. It was all local. I think when I was 15, the cycle probably wasn't there because, well, it might have been, but we were local. Like, there were over 100 operators in 1989 or so, 88, right in my town. They had a CB club and everything. And I met all kinds of people over the radio in that hometown of Ramona. They had a CB club and everything. It's where I met everybody.
Right.
It's where I met Wildcat. I met him when I was like 17.
So what made you want to, where were you, how did you get to Channel 6?
Okay, well, that was way later. After the, so after the local talking and the local stuff, we talked on Channel 25, and I don't think there was any skip then either. But when I hang out with Wildcat, he had this place out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, outside of Ramona, and one of his guys, landlord or whatever, where he stayed, had an old beam, an old Laser 400, and we put it up. And we put that thing up, and we started talking on that Laser 400, and I don't know, we had an old amp or something like that. That's how we got into the radio a little better. That's when I met 1-800-TOLL-FREE, another friend of mine. And he fixed one of my amps. I still have it. I still own it. It's an M175. I still own it. I still have the amp. And I still have the original radio that I got.
You got all that. You holding on to all that.
My great-grandma bought my Cobra 2000 when I was about 16 years old. She asked me what I wanted for my birthday. I said, I want a Cobra 2000. So I had that, and I talked on the radio, and I talked to everybody in that town. So after that, that's where I came from. I had a CB in every car. I had a CB in every truck, and I had a radio all the time. I met a lot of my best friends. My best friend 220, he's my best friend still today, and I met him over the radio.
So you've been pretty much deep in the radio game, other than with the 12 years, and we'll get to that point when you took your break, or 13 years.
On the radio too.
Yeah,
had a lot of girls on the radio. Back in the 90s, in the 80s and 90s, Facebook wasn't thought of, man. The radio, the CB radio, that was social media. That's how you met people. That's how you interacted with people. We'd go to the Del Taco and we'd all hang out, and everybody would have CBs. I'd have my handheld on my little bicycle. Back in the day. Riding around. Yeah, riding around. But that's how I started out for a radio operator. Going to 6, that was something different. You want to know about that?
I definitely want to know about 6.
All right. So what happened with that is, after me and Wildcat, we set up the beam and we started talking on radio. It was like we were having fun, but we really weren't talking. Like, I was talking to people here and there, but we really didn't know what I was doing, what we were doing. He was at work. I just talked on his radio all day long back in the day. Well, then on my car, one of my vehicles, I don't remember which one, I bought an 8-pill from Troublemade. That's when I started finding out that there's people who make amplifiers other than Messenger. There was a guy out in San Diego, his name was Joyrider. That was his handle, Joyrider. And he had a 16-pill in a old Chevy truck. And he was hearing me out there and on Channel 6. We were out there on the bowl, talking on radio. Most of the time we were talking to Local Boy down in Hawaii, because at nighttime there was nobody out there but Local Boy at the time. Well, that's when Joyrider lived in San Diego, and he goes, Fireball, you got to meet up with me. And he's like, oh man, you need an amplifier. So I hooked up with, I think I either had, maybe I had, I don't remember. I got a 5-pill from him or something, and I started putting my car together, my 8-pill War Wagon. I had a 8-pill from Troublemade and a 2-pill Troublemade 2-pill. And I think I got from Joyrider that he had gotten, but I don't remember. I might have drove to LA and bought it. I can't remember. But that's how I got onto the bowl. I got on there, and then Wildcat built me a special antenna on this car that I had. I had a Ford Taurus wagon, Ford Taurus station wagon. This thing was so cool. It had the 3.8 motor, which was it was one of the race cars that they had that Ford had. Great car. Drove around. It worked good for what I needed. I didn't have any kids at the time, but
That's like a poor man's Suburban.
Yes,
like a poor man's Suburban.
But it was a good car. I mean, I drove it to work as an iron worker. I was an iron worker. You can fit your tool belt in the back, all your work tools, and everything's closed in your car. And so you don't have to carry your truck in a toolbox. That's why I got this wagon. Well, anyway, Wildcat built this Power Star antenna. He called it the Power Star. It was like a Gizmoji reflector in the back with fighting sticks. Oh, man, that was the best thing I ever had. That's when I started talking on a Super Bowl. That's when I started recording all my friends with the recording device back in the day. Wasn't a phone. All these guys, oh, yeah, I do it with my phone. I do it with my phone. No. We had actual recording devices like the lawyers used. That's what I used to record with in my radio, and I was one of the only ones that was doing it line in, like 4040 was in Northern Cal. Bless his heart.
What year would you think that would be?
Oh, 2004, 2005, because I went to a break. Might have been 2001. Not sure. Maybe 2003. Don't even remember.
Yeah, 2003. Is it
wagon,
2003 or 2004?
Yeah, somewhere around there. When I had the wagon, that's when I met Getaway Driver. After I met Trouble, because Trouble and him were friends. My wagon burnt down. I replaced the engine, and I was like, I ain't getting rid of this thing. No way. It talks too good of a car. So I spent money on some $1,600 Ford Taurus wagon. I got the engine.
Hey, Fireball, that guy Trouble. It's kind of ringing a bell. Was this I knew there was a Trouble up there in Cali that used to be from like New York. Is that the same guy that moved to Cali?
I'm not sure, but he made pillboxes. His boxes used to say Trouble on them and everything.
Okay.
Pretty cool guy. Yeah. That was my first box before I even got a box from the Getaway Driver. I got one from Trouble.
Okay.
But I think it broke down, and then when I met Getaway Driver, we fixed it up because Trouble made key down boxes. They're just 11111 11111. Okay, and that's it. Not skip talking boxes. And when Getaway Driver found out that I talked too much, those pillboxes need to be built special for me. They couldn't hang on the hammer. They needed to had special caps and everything to talk as long as I talked.
Was this guy Trouble? Was he from where's the island? Jamaica? The island Jamaica?
Don't have a clue. No. Trouble was from Los Angeles. I don't know where he was from. He had blue boxes and they said Troublemade. And that was the first 8-pill I got, which I got fixed up by a Getaway Driver fixed it for me later.
So Getaway Driver, by the time you come into the point of you're building the War Wagon for the Super Bowl, is it safe to say that Getaway Driver was primarily your main technician at that time?
After that, yeah. Yeah, after the Troublemade 8-pill really didn't work very good, I brought it to him. I think I met Getaway Driver on Pal Talk, and he had messaged me, and I met him down in Oceanside where he lived, and I met him down there, and that it went from there.
Right.
And Joyrider went to him too, and then so did Wildcat. We all went to him because he was local. He was San Diego instead of Los Angeles. Trouble Made lived in Los Angeles. He had to go to LA to get his stuff, but he always met up. He was one of Getaway Driver's friends. He'd always meet up with them in Oceanside too.
Now tell us a little bit about the Mobile, the war wagon, the Mobile, the base killing Mobile, the one that everybody talks about.
Oh, okay.
3-element, 4-element antenna with the generator, the Dodge truck hooked to the trailer, sitting at what altitude, and tell us a little bit about that area in them years right there.
Okay, so when the car burnt down, I was like, oh man, because I was doing a lot of talking at that time. I mean, I was talking on the radio every Saturday and Sunday in that war wagon. I didn't need anything else. I had an 8-pill war wagon. I talked to everybody that I'm talking to. Well, not everybody, but a lot of the guys back in the day I talked to all the time in the war wagon at my spot. When it burned down, Getaway Driver built me a 12-pill. And for the pickup truck, since I didn't have the wagon and it burnt down, we crushed it and built a different Mobile. And he showed me his, he was like, well, you're going to have to get a different Mobile if you want to keep talking. So I saw his Suburban. He had this Suburban with like 10 alternators in it, man. I mean, it was wrapped with alternators all around there. And he's like, watch this. Man, he could put 25K in the corner. I still have his slug. I'm still.
Yes.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
I was looking at his Mobile. I was like, and that's when I'd already built the fighting sticks for my truck. That's why I have the rack, the ladder rack. It was made for, I had a theoretically kind of the same kind of thing that my war wagon had, but I just had copper fighting sticks, like as if you went to a key down. So I talked on that for quite a while before I did this mobile thing. But then that's when he was like, you're going to need a Suburban. You got to have something like this. And I was like, I'm not doing that to my truck. Because he's all, oh, yeah, you could do it to your truck. And because I already had it. I already had the driver ready. So he was going to build something else for the truck. And I had an extra cab. And after I looked at all that, and he was like, yeah, that's what you got to do. We could put the, what do they call that? The AC alternators in there. And then you rev the motor and key down like you did a Suburban. And I was like, nope, not happening. He's like, yeah, this is what you got to do. I was like, I'm a trailer guy, man. I got like 10 trailers sitting in my dad's place right now. We're not even using them. I'll tell you what we should do. We'll use a trailer, throw a generator on there, toolboxes. We'll do the same thing you're talking about it right off a trailer. Why not do it that way? He's like, nobody's ever done it. I was like, well, I'm going to tell you what. I use this truck every day, and there is no way I'm taking a 24-valve Cummins truck and putting all these alternators like you got in this Suburban and ruining it. I'm not doing it. So that's when I built it. I found this guy in Bakersfield, I think it was. I don't know. Somewhere over, no, not on, it was on the other side. It was a train station. He worked on these train generators, and he had one on Craigslist, and he had one for $1,500. It was like a 40,000 watt generator, something like that. 50,000 watt generator. Threw it on the trailer. I already had the trailer. There was nothing on it. The wood was going bad. There was nothing. All the wood went bad, so I used that. Just towed it up there. He says, I got a forklift. We'll just drop it on. I said, all right. Dropped it on there, welded it, and then that was it. All I needed was electricity stuff after that. I didn't need all the alternator, everything. I just wasn't doing it to my truck. I drove it today. I still drive it.
Now, question real quick. I want to stop you right there. Did you have the box? So you're running like a house box on the generator. Did you have it in the truck and run the wires up there to the truck, or was it just sitting right there on the trailer in the open?
Yeah,
all in the trailer.
All in the trailer, all in a toolbox. 2 toolboxes. I had a little driver, and then I had one box, and then I had a bigger box in another. Like a job
box, like one of them job boxes.
Yes. Yeah, I still have it. I still have the Mobile. I'm gonna put it back together. Actually, I mean, I still own it. I can still tow it at any time. and then I had like a, how you say, like a hose thing. So that would be
Yeah.
coax that ran to the truck.
Yeah.
The bird meter coax, so you can put your bird meters right on the console. You can see what
Right.
your watts are doing. And I had all the tuning stuff that I had for my boxes. I had locks on the top of mine, so you never changed it. You just talk on the bowl, good to go. What channel did you need to go to?
Now, when you said base killing Mobile back then, back in that time, in that era, base killing Mobile. I mean, what was this? Was this 100,000 watt base killing Mobile, or was it a 75,000, 50,000 watt base killing Mobile?
I guess you would say that would be no comment. I kind
No
of want to
comment.
keep that
Okay.
in the incognito.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I
Okay.
told you about this before. You know, a lot of these guys, they be like, man, I keep 200,000 watts. I could keep 250,000 watts. I like to really keep my stuff incognito because
Yeah.
this is all these guys want to know. What the hell is Fireball running? What the hell is
Yeah.
Fireball? What is Fireball doing?
Well, let me ask you one more question. How many Dr. Peppers, when you was whooping them boys' asses out there, how many Dr. Peppers in that time era do you think you drank sitting in that truck somewhere by that bypass?
Oh my God. I bring 3 Dr. Peppers, 5 waters, a ham sandwich, and 2 Snicker bars with me. And that
Wow.
I leave Saturday morning at 5:30 in the morning, started up, drive to my spot. Only took about 40 minutes to get there. Get my ladder out, get all my stuff out. By then the skips just starting to come in. And I'm
Right.
ready to go. I mean, I got all my stuff all out, ready to roll. It only took me about 15 minutes to set up. Not even,
Right.
probably the same as a suburban guy. He pulls over, he gets his fighting sticks ready, and he's ready. That's about as long as it took me.
Wow.
I could do it quick.
And out of all the mobile time that you have back to the base station, which one do you like? You know, to where you're relevant now, but for what you got going on current on the bowl compared to back then when you was in the mobile, what do you like more? You like the mobile or you like the base station?
I like the mobile. I like to honk the horn. It just feels so much better. You're like, look at this. Watch. Honk! Do you hear him? You don't hear these.
Fireball, take that shit serious.
Man, I'm telling you, I honked the horn on a lot of base stations, dude, and it made them feel like shit.
Man, I need. Hey, Fireball, we on some other shit right now. I need to be getting paid for this shit, Fireball. I need to make money from this shit.
I got 2 of you guys.
You're asking me.
I'm doing this shit broke.
You're asking me the question like, which one do you like
No,
better?
you good.
I like the mobile because that's what I mean when I drive to my spot. And not only that, one guy, he talks so much trash about me, I swear to God, locally, because I can hear him. I lived in Ramona. This T-Bone mud duck lived in Mira Mesa, and he would talk all this trash, be like, Fireball's nothing, Fireball's nothing. This guy had 2 5,000s or something down there and some antenna. Okay, I don't know.
I remember that big beef that you guys had. That was some big. Hey, a lot of people forgot about that shit, but that's some. And I'm not gonna cut you off, but that's some big shit that you're bringing up right there, you and T-Bone.
This guy thought he came out there. He goes, Fireball's never talking again. Fireball's never talking again. And then he started whining. Oh well, he goes to up on the mountain and talks. That's the reason why he goes up on the mountain. So every day he shoot a skip. That was his excuse of him getting his ass whooped. That was his real excuse. Oh yeah. Well, the reason why Fireball's getting on T-Bone because he ain't got nothing. He's getting on because he's at his spot on the mountain and whatever. So I said, okay. The next day I drove right down, not to his front yard. I didn't want to get shot or something like that, but I knew his area. And I drove over there to the, and the people at the Albertsons, oh man, they thought I was looking for deer or something. They thought I was crazy. I started that thing up, cranked the antenna up. I set it all up over there. And T-Bone probably could hear my generator over at his house. But man, when he keyed down, I cut his lips off, and I'd be like, "I'm down here, right down here at Albertsons, down the street. Honk, honk! Look,
honking the horn."
I'm right near his front yard. I'm right down the block because all that crappy talk. He went 10-7 after that. He left.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He got in trouble.
that's pretty
from the
much.
FCC. He got in trouble
Yep.
from the FCC because he worked for the military, and something happened with the military, and you couldn't do that stuff working for the military.
Yeah. All we remember is he went away and he hasn't been back. And then
He
all of a
hasn't been
sudden,
back.
Fireball comes back to the band. He don't know nothing about a competition.
Yeah, no,
and you get back to the band and you say, we're here at this point now, and you're putting a ground plane up. This is what month? Just a couple months ago. Start right here. Where are we at right now?
Okay, so let me get to that part. Okay, so I'm like, my truck, all my cars have radios. They all got radios, and for the last, like, I'm saying 1 year because I was a single dad for 10 years. Like, I was taking kids to soccer, taking kids to the Young Marines. I was taking them to the wherever. I mean, making their dinners and helping them. I taught these kids everything, but I had to do all that. But all during the whole time, I turned on the radio, nothing going on. Nothing. Oh, I'm going to turn the radio on. Oh, nothing. So for years, I never heard nothing. So I just kept doing what I was doing. And my daughter graduated last June. Okay, so last June she graduated, and me, the dad, I'm not taking care of kids when they're 18. When you graduate and you get your diploma, you're done at my house forever. And she was like, well, okay, so she gets a $400,000 scholarship, and the master plan. Okay, well,
You gotta
God
come
damn.
back.
let me get. I'll tell you what the master plan is later, Jack. I'll tell you in a second. I gotta get to this point about the
Crazy.
radio part. So anyway, so my daughter graduates. She gets her thing. She gets her scholarship, $400,000 scholarship. She gone. I'm in her bedroom now, and I was like, okay. And I fixed my truck because my truck hadn't been driving in a while. I had brake issues and everything. I couldn't figure it out. I finally figured it out. Turned on the radio in October, and I was like, the radio's on. The radio, man. Drove over to the water right there at the Salt Sea where I went, and I don't have nothing. I don't have no base station set up, nothing. Drove right over to the water. I'd be talking on the radio and be like, this Fireball right here. What's going on, everybody? And they're like, man, Fireball. I was like, okay, now the radio's back. I tell all my friends. I was like, hey,
Right.
man, the radio just skips back. Radio came back. This was just in October, okay? So I didn't really have anything. I all my stuff was in storage in Ramona. It wasn't down here at all. I didn't have any radio, none of my power supplies, none of my stuff. All my stuff was in storage in Ramona for the last 15 years. Well, I went and got a couple things up there, and I had a ground plane in there. I had a ground plane under the Connex sitting in the dirt, and I had a long wire. I had a like a dipole. Okay, I had both of those, and I had my mobile beam, but I didn't really want to set that up yet because I wasn't sure if I was going to do the mobile again or anything like that. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to put the ground plane and this long wire up. I had a bunch of coax, but I needed some 75 ohm coax to do what I was about to do. I hooked up a Antron 99 and a long wire on the flat side, and from two pieces of tree, a 36-foot long wire, and then I took a ground plane and I put it about 17 foot in the air. I was talking on that from October, and then, man, I talked to another friend of mine. He puts up towers, and that's what he does for a living. Like, I don't know what he does, but he has a hookup of towers. And I said, I need a tower. He says, oh yeah, I'll hook you up. Found one, bought it, went down to Los Angeles, put it on the trailer. Man, I had that thing up. I cranked that thing up in January. I started doing the footing and everything in November, and I had it poured by December 27th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you went right on with it. You got the antenna up. You built a base station. You
Yeah,
might
I
as well
built a
say you built a base station in what?
In a month.
By the middle of January, you were talking
month.
on the bowl, right?
Yeah. Well, and I actually wasn't even going to go back to the bowl because I was bored of it. And plus the bowl wasn't really that exciting. I didn't hear anybody down there. 28 was really popping. There was a lot of people on Channel 28 when I was there. I was going down the bowl and talked to a few of my friends, but in October and November, I think a lot of people just didn't know the skip came back. I don't know, but there was nobody down there. In November, December, there was a few people. In January, right when I cranked this thing up, I didn't hear a whole lot of people there. So I just hung out on other channels and started talking there. And then when everyone's talking about this competition, I'm like, what competition? They're having a competition? You know, so then when I said that, you know, and you guys are all talking about it's only on the bowl only, I said, oh man, that's where I came from. Maybe I'll get down with my bad self. So I did.
Yeah.
But right when this thing started, one of my AC boxes broke. It went down.
Right.
It broke the day that the competition started on Friday.
Jeez.
Right.
So I was like, well, I'll go with what I got. I'll just go with what I got. I had a 6-bill 2879 box. I got some 8950 boxes. I got some little boxes here and there. I said, well, I'll just run what I brung. Hopefully I win.
Right. Right. Well, you did it. You did a good job, man. You know, you caught the rules. You listened to the rules. You know, you talked every damn day. I mean, hey, 413. I mean, what am I missing? What am I missing here? I mean, the guy put the work in.
Well,
he summed it up. But what I want to know. Okay, you described your station, and you know, you really don't want to divulge on the big box or whatever, but I know, you know, a lot of people talked about the spot that you're in, that you got a hell of a spot. You want to talk to us about the spot you got?
Sure. Even both. Okay, so the other spot that I used to talk 15 years ago, it's the real spot. Like it's the person who showed me where it was 1-800 toll free. And when I got my driver's license when I was 19 or 20, he was like, if you want to know where to talk, this is where to talk on the radio. And I used to go up there with my high school sweetheart. We'd take pictures. I mean, that place it's an omnidirectional top of the mountain. And you could see from the Salton Sea of the desert to the beach of San Diego. And you could see all of Los Angeles from there.
What's the height? What's the height, Fireball?
6,700 feet.
6,700 feet. Wow, that's up there.
So when you're talking in that spot, where you're close to that spot where your base station is at, you're talking on what? You hit Florida hard. Now down here, you know, people in the comments could. I mean, you won the competition. I know.
Well, this area down here. So this area down here, I never thought he'd even talk. I'm a Mobile guy, so I'm thinking to myself, I need to get the Mobile back together if I really want to do some talking, especially on the Super Bowl. I mean, God, you know, I need to get this back together. I didn't talk in the town of Ramona very well. Nope. I had a Mobile in Ramona, but where I talked, I dominated. I mean, I buried everybody's needle across the United States every Saturday and Sunday. Nobody got to talk on the radio ever on the last time I had that Mobile out there. But when I'm thinking out here, I'm thinking, this ain't going to talk that good. But the radio was awesome down here. I'm like, dude, everybody's coming back to me. I'm just out here on nothing. I ain't even doing no watch. They're all calling me. So when I set up my base station, I was like, well, maybe I'll test the Mobile antenna out. Maybe I'll test the AC boxes that I own, and I'll just run them right here in the base station. I had to build a sub panel. I had to do all that stuff just to get this stuff to go and set up. But I wanted to do that first to test everything. So I'm not in the Mobile thinking, is it going to break or not? And it was good that I did that because I did have a lot of issues in some of the equipment that I have. So it's good that I have a base station to do some testing.
Yeah. Well, like 413 said, I mean, you ran, you know, I mean, the competition ran out early. Region 2 ran out early. It finished about a week early.
I know. This is supposed to be the 4th week, right? This week.
Yes.
Today's the last day of the 4th week, which
the
guy where my transformer was, he was rewinding it. I was like, man, get this thing done by last Tuesday. I was like, man, can you get it done by then? Because the 4th week is happening. I'm coming out with a vengeance. on the final week, I'm going to have a nail in the coffin. But
A nail in the coffin.
he said he couldn't get it done, and he's not even finishing it until this Tuesday. So, but the conditions down here are phenomenal. I've never seen anything like it ever. I heard Cripple Lizard called me on the phone. He used to be a truck driver, and he used to deliver from Northern Cal to Southern Cal. I don't know what he delivered, but he delivered to Brawley. It's near my area. And he said, man, when he drove his truck down here, he was the king of the world. He was the king of the world with a Messenger 2-pill.
So let's. I just got a delay over here on my end. I don't know if you got it 413, but I'm straight now. But let's talk about you winning the competition, because you in. Wow, man,
Well,
you.
I got a few things I need to say because there's a lot of people that have been calling me on the phone, Jimmy. They've been asking me things. They've been telling me things about what they think about this competition. What you've already answered the first part, okay? When I first came on, or whatever, this back behind show, I was watching you guys. But when I first came on, you were talking about how the votes should be. Some of these people have been calling me, be like, I wish the votes were anonymous because I didn't want to vote Motormouth Mall, and I didn't want to vote Fireball because I didn't want to be in mad. And this is and I get people telling me this, and I get other people telling me, well, but you really much summed it all up when this first started. Now I don't even need to talk about it, but I want to, because people call me and they want me to ask you guys about this on this show. Now,
Tell them don't call you no more.
well, I like talking to them. Dude, I talk about radio every day. Man, if they call me on the phone, I'm going to talk to them. I talk to Bad Attitude all the time. I talk to Blackjack and the Buckeye. And man, I talk to these guys all the time.
Right.
You know, and these are guys that, all these guys, dude, there's this guy. He's a truck driver. That's what he does for a living. And all he does is listen to me and 300 and Motormouth Mall. And all he does is listen to us as he drives. We are his entertainment as he works. It's so cool. And
you get him through the day, Fireball. Look at the people that you're touching. You're getting him through the day.
Yep.
Well, you know, there's a. Go ahead.
All right, these guys that have been asking me these questions, they're talking about, you know, like, well, what if these guys don't work? I mean, are working? They work all week and they only got Saturdays and Sundays off, but they got the hammer down on a Motormouth Mall long. They're skull dragging his ass all day. Well, you answered the question. The first part of this is not the way you want the competition to be. The competition is consistency. So as long as you're consistent, that's it, right? That's the way it's set up. So let's say Motormouth Mall came out there every day for an hour after work, and that was more than enough. And when he came out there, he never got whooped on, but Fireball whooped him a lot. But I'm just saying, this is just in general. Could be another region. Let's say Joe Blow is out there Monday through Friday. He gets off work at 5 o'clock. So every day at 5 o'clock, he goes right to his radio. He's as consistent as he can be during the week because he works every day. And he gets off at 5 o'clock. The skip's rolling. He's talking on the radio. Is that but now, since everybody's voting, these voters need to see this. This guy came out here after work at 5 o'clock. He skull drove the shit out of blah, blah, blah from Louisiana. Oh, he came here the next day at 6 o'clock. He got off work. He skull drug him again. But now he's out here Saturdays and Sundays, and he's skull drug him. Oh, the guy took a day off on the final week. He took Sunday off. These things are the things that the voters need to see and notice if they want the Hammer Show to be how they want it. You know what I mean? Or how they see it. I understand that you were saying it's not about the big hammer. Okay. That's what you're saying, right? It's not about the big hammer. It's about being consistent then. It's about, like, you come out there every single day of the week, all day long, all night long, until the skip falls out. That's how you win, right?
It's about having a hammer. Go. You want to go ahead, take off 410.
Yeah, it's okay. It's I said at the beginning of the show, you could come out there and have a big ass hammer, weigh down your 60 dB, heat 4 or 5 times, and go to
Okay.
7, not get whooped. That's having a big hammer. So now that
Okay,
consists
that's
of you
true.
having a hammer. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
What we're looking for,
you're
if
right.
you work all day and you home from 4 to 6 o'clock, by
Yeah.
them 2 hours you're out there and you're talking consistently, you're dominating, you got good game and you're whipping people, then that
Yes.
2 hour window should be applied to the time you spoke. And that's where the
And the
water
voters.
gates come in. You see,
Yeah.
because I could sit there with 50,000, 60,000 watts and wait for my meter to go to 60 dB and keep 5, 6, 7 times and go back to the 7 and be like, oh, 413 had the biggest hammer out there. So does that qualify for me to win? Or do I go out there and do a little showmanship, put the hammer on people,
Yeah.
be consistent, talk, have a QSO going? Like I said before in the beginning of the show, it's like a beauty pageant. You're not just looking at the face, you're looking at her body, you're looking at her in a bikini, you're looking at her in a dress, and you're seeing her speak. You ask her questions, see her speak. So it's a whole thing combined. It doesn't
Okay.
mean you have to be there from 5 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock at night, because you could be there all day and get your skull drugged 5 out of them 6 hours that you're out there. It's how
That's
you
true.
present yourself and how you hold the hammer and how you hold your own on the show on the bowl.
That's
pretty much
so
what
true
I'm trying
because
to
you could
say.
be out there. You could be out there be going 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11. I might get my ass whooped. 11, 11 gone. 11, 11 gone. 11, 11. Just call 11, 11. Up. Call 11, 11. Call
But
11,
that,
11.
but
Call 11,
Fireball,
11. 11, 11.
Fireball, don't get too far gone. Come here, Fireball. Let me grab onto your shirt. Hold on now, Fireball. Come here. Check this out. Okay. That's no different, Fireball, than a guy that just says, 3 more words past 11, 11. And there's no difference in those style of operators. But here's the thing. You can't tell nobody, even though you might not like it or it might not entertain you, you can't never tell nobody how to run their radio that they bought. There's a
That's
lot
true.
of guys that don't care for your talk show.
Oh,
There's a lot of
there
guys
is.
that don't
There
care for
is.
my talk
Everybody's
show.
different.
You're
Yeah,
right.
right.
Oh, there's
right.
a lot of guys who just think
But-
that I'm total nothing. And not,
But
not
at the
that
end
they
of the
don't have
day-
a hammer, they just don't like listening to me.
But at the end of the day, Fireball, look, at the end of the day, it ain't up to what me and 413 say. New
That's
kid,
Yeah.
And shout out to New Kid, because let me tell you something, you guys, you don't see what all New Kid really does and the work that he puts into this behind this the show in the limelight of this thing. We're the ones that can enjoy it but it's guys like that put a lot of work into the legwork and the ladies involved in this behind the show, behind the curtain. But I'm gonna tell you something, Fireball. There's a lot of guys don't care for your talk show. A lot of guys don't like my talk show, but there's a lot of guys that do.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the voters are the ones that determine this and make this happen. It's not what I say about a damn swagger. It's not what I say about a hammer. It's not what I say about consistency. Listen, some guys called and some guys said, this is bullshit. This is nothing but a favorite. Well, who cares?
They
It
called
is
me
what it
too. They
is.
said the same thing.
Popularity contest. Popularity
They said
contest.
the same thing to me.
Okay, but what can I do? What can 413 do about a popularity contest? But look, I know you got a lot of stuff on your mind with the competition, and I know you wanted to talk about it, the competition. So hit us with the next one, Fireball.
Well, okay, so pretty much that was really the whole thing was what happens. You've already been through the anonymous part.
I
but-
tried to, yeah.
Okay, because I've talked to people that think anonymous should be the way to go. Because
Well, obviously they say different in here
Well, no,
in front of
when I-
all of us.
I wasn't even going to talk about this after I talked to Swamp Weed. I talked to him last night, and I called him. Somebody gave me his number, and I called him on the phone. And I said, "Hey, how come you didn't vote for me?" He goes, "Because I don't want Motormouth Mall or you being mad at me, and I really didn't want to really deal with it, but that's why I didn't vote." I go, "Oh, okay." I said, "So, what if it was anonymous?" He goes, "Okay, well, if it was anonymous, I would have voted, but I wouldn't have known if my vote counted because now you got to have all of Jimmy Swagger and Mr. Daytona's admins to count them. Right now, everyone can see who voted for you. Did you see all your votes?" I said, "Oh, yeah. I saw everybody. I talked to every single one of them. I could prove every single vote." Well, he said, it's the way it should be. And the reason why is because now you're giving it, if you do it anonymous, if you go anonymous, that means like They want to make sure that that you're going to be fair. Now you guys got to count the votes because we don't know who voted for us. We just know we're on top. Okay, the next region, this guy in Louisiana is on top. Now these guys are going, what? I voted for blah, blah, blah. He should be on top. How does he know? Because he anonymously voted. Well, anyway, but here's another thing that I do want to suggest you could do. It sounds really weird, but either a call-in vote or a mail-in vote or something like that. Like that guy calls you, look, Jimmy, I got to let you know that I don't want to vote for this guy or that guy, and I don't want anybody to know I voted. So when you count the votes and you count the winner, I want you to be on the podcast, and on that day, you say, and this is just a suggestion. You don't got to do it. You don't have to do it. It's just a suggestion. You could say, you know what? This guy called me on the phone. He didn't want to vote for either one, but I'm going to let everybody know that he wanted to vote this person, but he didn't want anybody to know. And that would be on the final.
We'll check this out. And I hear your point. Believe me, I really do. We both hear your point. But
it might
listen,
be minimal.
man.
I mean, I don't know how many people, you saw, I was in backstage, so I didn't get to see all the
I got this, Jimmy. I got it. Listen, Fireball. The reason being, okay, let's keep it real. We gonna keep
Michelob time.
Let me take a sip. I got Bush today. I no Bud. I got Bush beer.
Bush likes good stuff. I got water because I had 5 cases of beer in the last 4 days, so I'm good.
The reason why we did this, we thought this through, and the reason why we did this because ultimately, CBers are gonna be CBers, and just like I'm finding out, they're gonna nitpick about every little thing. Right now, as we speak, everything's getting micromanaged. Every little slip up, they're gonna throw it in your face. I get phone calls. You wouldn't believe the phone calls I get. I'm like, really? I'm gonna get this phone call for that? The reason why I did that, we did it together, and showing people voting is because it's a transparency thing. Now, if somebody's gonna get butthurt because they voted for somebody, like I know you and I know Jimmy. Jimmy, you got a bigger hammer than Jimmy, and I vote for you. And Jimmy shouldn't get mad at me because it's just a friendly competition. If he gets mad at me, he's a sucker. He's a duck. That's what I'm just saying. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why we did it, to where we show transparency. Because if we did it anonymously, they'd be like, oh, Fireball's over there with a 6 pill, with an 8 pill, and he's 10, 15 votes ahead of somebody that got two 10,000, 15,000. Something's going on with the votes. And now all of a sudden, and they're going to come back on 413. They're going to come back on Jimmy. Oh, they're padding the votes for Fireball. You see what I'm saying? So we made it as transparent as possible so everybody can see. Unfortunately, there's people that are scared. It is what it is. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, they're not voting for such and such reason. But you know, the guys, the main thing, the guys that are complaining about the voting, okay,
they're not voting.
I got a list of them. I go and I look to see. Let me see. Such and such, he's complaining about this. Let me go down the line and see who he voted for. Didn't vote for nobody. So these are the guys that are picking and micromanaging, but yet they're not contributing to anything. So the guys that really needed the votes didn't get the votes. I mean, I'm just going to keep it real. For one reason or another, whether they scared to vote or whatever the case may be. But our job, me and Jimmy, we try to make it as transparent as possible. That way, when stuff like this happens, I could be like, I ain't got nothing to do with the voting. Y'all voted. There it is. I even made a closed room for CBers because the Super Bowl skip talkers, I have 3,000 people in there in that room. Wow. But a lot of them, you know, are not CBer. They're public people that come in there. So I closed that room and I made a competition room that anybody that joined in, if they're CB related, I know there's a couple scragglers in there that I'm watching, but anybody that has an antenna or CB related, we did that for the voting. We wanted everybody because awesome. A lot of people are like, hey, you need to get the Super Bowl guys to vote. Okay, if I really was to break down the Super Bowl guys, there'd be 50 guys that are consistently on the Super Bowl, and 20 of them are only going to vote. What kind of voting process is that going to be? So I left it alone for anybody that's CB operated to keep it 100 and see what's going on the band. Whether you're out there 2 hours, you can make an assessment there, or whether somebody's out there 10 hours. They can make their assessment because they know radio. So that's what we base that upon. But obviously, it's too much for certain people. So we're going to keep it like it is right now. You know, I already Jimmy just put in the room if we were going to change it up anonymous to put a 1 and or to keep it
Handle it.
number
Done.
2, and
No, I
it
think
was
you got it
overwhelming.
right.
It was like 25 to like 1, so we can't do nothing about it.
Well,
Let me tell you something else real
those
quick
are
on
just
this. Hang on,
suggestions.
Fireball.
Those are
me-
just suggestions.
Let me tell you this, why this is fresh on my mind, Fireball, too, while you sitting here. Okay. All right. Let me run this by you. We got a lot of splack over, when you was posting 28 into the competition. I
Right.
reached out to you, told you, hey, listen, you can post whatever you want CB
Yeah, I
related
remember. And
on that
I liked
page.
it. I thought
But
it was
it's not accounted for.
I know.
And then when I got you to
understood
understand that, I said, if anything happens, I said, we cannot go back and use those gates to prove whether you got whooped or you didn't get whooped for this time or whatever. I said, CB page, CB competitions, one thing, it's CB related. You're a CB operator, post whatever you want in the page. Everything's being scanned. Everything's being screened. All is well. All is good. Listen, like he said, it's not the Grammys. We've already accomplished. If we stop the competition today, in my eyes, if we walk away from this, we've already won. I tell you how, because before we started it, we was on a complacent downward spiral effect.
Oh yeah.
People were still having fun. People were still kicking it. They were doing their thing, but everybody's jumped up. Everybody's tried to grab a hold of this thing and take off with it and do what they're doing. And it's just what it is. But hey, look, we've got a lot of stuff to still cross over, man. We got to keep this thing paced and keep it moving. Hey, I'm gonna like I say this, when it comes to you, Fireball, love you or hate you, you're something to be reckoned with. You're a force to be reckoned with. I want to kind of get away from all that because we've done hashed it, and it is what it is, and it's not really going to change too much. I want to ask you, Fireball, this question right here. There's nobody in here but me, you, and 413, by the way.
Okay. All right then. I'll keep your secret.
Out of all this competition and all this stuff that you've accomplished and you've done, you're back on the bowl, you're talking every day. Where do you see yourself out there in competitive wise with all the other guys on the west side of Cali? I mean, are these guys going to catch the thunder, or are they're not going to feel no heat? Are you stepping your game up? Are you staying where you are? What's going to happen in the next 24 months?
I probably might take my mobile back out. I'm not going to buy more boxes. I might get a different driver if I need something. I'm not stepping up I'm not spending all this money on stuff just to whip on somebody on the bowl. Okay.
Right.
I got my ass skull drug on 28 for the last 3 or 4 days. These guys up on 28, they're over talking me. Where half the time I can't even talk on the 6 bill. I don't know why I can do it on channel 6, but I can't do it up there. I gotta come up there with everything I have just to even do something. There's about 5 people up there, all from California, all from Southern California and Arizona, this region, that talk on 28. It's very hard to get over the top of them.
So you're saying, let me stop you right there. So you're saying, now correct me if I'm wrong, 413, if I heard this right. So you're saying, what you're basically saying is, you're saying that you fight the people in California that talk on 28, they could cut your radio off on 28.
Yeah, because I'm there. I'm on the radio. I'm trying to talk on the radio, and I'm on 28. And I'm like, God damn. And it's like these guys got better conditions, or they're just in my conditions, and I just don't have it to key it. Yep, happened yesterday on the bowl, actually.
Who is your? I don't know if you want to ask him this question, but I'm dying. Who is out of this, when this competition was taking place? Who was the most competitive guy that was running close to you out there that you felt?
What are you talking about? When we started this competition?
Who made you have to run? Who made you have to work?
Well, 63. He's hard to get with. I can talk with him no matter what he says. Yeah, you never can. Yes, I can hear these guys. I know for a fact that I'm talking, and they're trying to talk to the guys I'm talking to, and I'm doing the same thing. Sometimes we'll get mismatched where he can key on me, and the times where these guys are trying to key on me, they're just out there trying to key on me, and then they leave. My conditions are my own. They're really hard to catch me doing it. You obviously know. You hear me. Sometimes I'm out there and there's nobody on the radio but Fireball. I mean, like all these skates that I hear, there's nobody out there but Fireball. And you'll hear other
Right.
guys, they're out there hitting them at 10 pounds. They're trying to get Fireball, but they can't.
Right.
Now,
Well,
you're talking about on the bowl, right? These people that were competitive against me. Definitely. That 12 in the Valley, oh, those guys were all competitive. They were all on this valley. Even Motormouth Mall. He's very competitive because he has a really long beam. So the guy he's talking to, he's on it. I mean, I talked to when I talked to Weed last night, I said, I mean, he didn't even know who I was when I got his number. Called him up. I said, hey, who would you have? I know you didn't vote, but if you did vote, who would you vote for? He goes, Motormouth Mall. I said, you.
do you I hear you talk a lot about Motormouth Mall on your gates and stuff. Do you have are you in Motormouth Mall? Are y'all in some type of beef? Do y'all like have some animosity that's hidden or something?
God,
Can you talk about any of that?
We shouldn't have any animosity. I think what it was years ago, he just thought he was the baddest man. He was gonna beat up 766. He was gonna do this. I'm a gunna. And I took my mobile and I cut his radio off for 10 minutes straight. I ran on that 12 pill for 10 straight minutes. Cut his lips off in 222's radio while he was out there. That wasn't really a beat. That was just something that I wanted to prove to him because he was like, oh, yeah, well, Fireball's nothing. I got all this basically just set it up. I just kind of wanted to make him look bad. Well, now that we just started this other competition, which I think Motormouth Mall just really didn't care about the competition because he started saying stuff on the forum or on the Facebook group, but he just, he didn't want to post any gates there. I don't know why. But one time I heard him saying, well, I've met Fireball in person. And the time I met him in person, I went to shake his hand and he put his hands over his hair like the Fonzie. He was passing a 5 personally and telling somebody else, making them believe that that's how Fireball is personally. That's why I haven't let off that mud duck. He shouldn't have said something like that. He could have said, yep, Fireball's a mud runner down there at the Salton Sea, or Fireball this, or Fireball that. He didn't need to say that. So after that, I was like, oh, yeah, you're going to talk like that? You want to tell everybody how I am personally? Everybody knows who I am personally. But he wanted to portray that I am like I don't know how, like I'm like that I guess I'm stuck up or something. He wanted to tell everybody that when he met me in person, that I'm a stuck up person. That he wanted to make people believe that. So he passed a 5 like that. That's why I stay on his ass.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well,
Now,
we got that.
now let me ask you a question. Okay, now we do when we get down the radio, we pass some 5s kidding around. Now you really think there was something behind that personally, or do you think it was just like a 5 that just passing a 5 to say some shit like that?
Oh, I don't know.
Guys say some stuff. You know what I mean? I think 90% of the 5s that are passed don't have any validity to it or any personal stuff to it. Now, have you ever met him? Did something like that really go down? Or is it something that you think he might be just a 5 that he just threw out there just to have fun with?
No, I think he threw it out there to throw me under the bus. That's just how I feel. Maybe like what you're talking about, he's just out there talking. Maybe Motormouth Mall just didn't know that he was going to make me feel in that way. But I just think if you're going to pass a 5, don't pass a 5 on somebody personally. He said, I personally met the person in person. He could have just said, hey, tell him to go give truck drivers radio checks. Tell that mud duck to go into the street corner and put a blonde wig on and sell himself so he can buy an amp. Something like that. That's just a 5. That's not personally. That's just tell him to go do that. He's saying when I met him at the break, he put his hand behind his back when I tried to shake his hand. That's what I'm saying. And he kept doing it. He kept telling everybody that.
Now, was it true? Was it true though?
No.
Did you actually meet him? Okay.
I don't even know if I met him. I've seen him at a break. I don't know if I ever shook his hand. I don't even remember. But you don't say that.
Yeah.
You don't say that. That's
Well-
what I'm saying. I think that's one beef that I had with Motormouth Mall. That's why I'm just stay on it with him. And that's why, that's why he has steam coming out his ears when he gets his radio cut off by Fireball. I think I'm just his competition. It
Well,
could be. I don't know.
you
I
sh-
could-
you
I could
showed-
piss that guy off, though. Oh, my
You
God.
showed-
He'd be out there saying F word and everything.
Fireball. Come here, Fireball. Come here. Hey, Fireball.
Reel him in, Jimmy. Jimmy,
Hey,
reel him
Fireball.
in.
Come here. Come here, Fireball. Hey, Fireball, listen, man. Check this out, man. Listen. At the end of the day, what are you? Tell Jimmy, what are you?
I'm Fireball at the end of the day. I'm just me.
And what'd you do, Fireball? What'd you do?
I won the competition on the rules that you wanted.
And who voted for you, Fireball?
89 people voted for me, and all 89 of them I talked to on the radio. Even one of a friend of mine that lives in North Carolina, she's putting up a beam together right now. She talked to me on the ground plane on Channel 6.
Hey, 413. Love
Making
this
a false
guy.
shirt. She makes shirts. She makes shirts like with your name on it, like this one. She's making
Yeah.
me a shirt, and Bayou Boy and Duck Hunter, because they've been helping me fix some of my stuff. Because there's no more.
So shout out all of them guys. Bayou
Right,
Boy,
there's-
Duck
well,
Hunter.
Well, there's no more. I don't have a technician. I have to learn this on my own. I know I'm not going to call nobody. There's a lot of rumors about other guys, this and that. And really down here, I don't even know if there is anybody that's any good. 900, I would go to him. My friend Skyscraper, he's trying to, get a hold of him, but he's working or busy, so we don't want to bother him. So I'm just getting help from people who like to talk to me and who still want to talk to me. They're helping me.
Well, check it out. Listen, we got to move on. We press for time, but listen, I'm gonna tell you something, Fireball, that you wanted to talk about. You who the people voted for. You're the people's choice. You like it? Hey, hate it? I always said this since I was a kid: like it, lick it, or leave it. You the man. You know what it is. I mean, you won the hammer. You won the hammer. Super glued to some
By the way, where is that?
pallet type. But you'll have that probably the first part of next week.
Just messing with you.
Well, no, I mean, you would have had it. No, real shit, you would have had it. But the thing is we finished in 3 weeks. We didn't finish in 4 weeks, so everything's kind of turned around and twisted around. But listen, be very, very careful when you take that thing out of the package, because that shit's super glued together, and that shit's got finishing nails holding that shit on. You know what I'm saying? So, I made that shit in literally like 15 seconds. So you ain't got nothing to worry about. And wherever you set that bitch, make sure you leave it. Don't go back and pick it up to show somebody, because that shit's gonna come apart. Shit'll come apart in 12 different ways.
Well, I'll mount it here in my daughter's old room. I'll put it right up above my radio on the purple wall that she painted.
It don't matter if it was
I got a purple wall in my radio room.
Fireball. It don't matter if it was frozen dog shit, because at this point, it's something you signed up for. It's something you showed up to show out for, and you want it, and you the people's choice. So like it, lick it, or leave it. The people in Cali, good job to all the guys that ran with you, and put the dedication and put the time in. It just is what it is. It's guys like you that participate in this thing and make this thing fun. It just is what it is, and that's the main thing that we tried to do about this. I hate to rush you. I'm not going to get all the goodbyes and the sad stories, because I'm not going to do that with you, because I'm going to tell you why. When all this is over, you're one of the 12 guys that's going to be in the running for the world boss now.
Oh, what?
So, yeah,
God,
so-
I'll set the mobile up. It's on. It's over, dude. Dude, they're never going to win. They're going to lose.
Well, listen, here's how that works. Here's how that
Never
works. So you got 12 regions. You got 12 regions. I got a producer back here right now. He's pinging me, talking about, come on. But listen, Fireball, the real thing is you're one of the 12 guys that's going to be in there for the consideration of who's going to be the world boss
Will we have
and
to
how
compete
and
again?
how that's going to come. Yes, there will be another competition that'll be totally different. We'll get to that point. And look, real good job, my brother. Appreciate you taking the time out, coming to the
Congratulations,
show.
bro.
Congratulations
Thank you, guys.
for taking the
think-
show.
I'm glad everybody came to see me. You know, I mean, I told all my friends over the radio. Even my friend Disco Duck is here. I grew up with Disco Duck. He's
Shout
been
out to
building-
Disco Duck for coming and seeing his homeboy Fireball.
He's been building all these guys' antennas. These guys,
Right.
my friend Queen Bee's got some. My friend MacGyver. I mean, all these specs now from Disco Duck are out there, and they're all got these specs to talk to me.
Right.
That's what's
Well, good
cool.
job. Good job once again. Good job.
Yeah, bro.
Hats off to you, man. Well deserved. You put the time, you put the dedication in. Like I say, I know you're a single parent. I know you had to run and pick your son up this afternoon. You were pressed for time. You made it. You got here. You know, it just is what it is. We're gonna get you back on the show. Like I say, you're one of the 12 coming up for the another competition for the World Boss deal. So you're already there. You're halfway
I'll
there
be
for the
ready.
People's Choice.
Oh my
Get your
God!
shit
I
ready.
can't wait. I'm getting
Get
my
your shit
mobile
ready.
set up.
Hopefully,
I'm
hey
gonna
Jimmy.
win.
Hopefully we find out what the master plan by that time
Oh,
is.
okay. Well, all right. So the master
Save the
plan-
master plan. Don't tell them yet. Don't tell them yet, Fireball. Save it. Save it.
Okay,
Just
I'll
save it.
I'll
Save it.
I'll
Save it. Save it when you
man.
Well, I did not know that. I didn't know there was going to be a competition between 12 people. So,
Oh yeah, well, that's what we're doing real quick. So
man.
I'm
dude,
gonna
I'll be able
tell
to
you
take
real
my
quick.
mobile in that area. I'll just drive
Out
over.
of 12
I won't have shit to do.
Okay, well check this out. Listen to me, Fireball. 12 winners. When those 12 winners are determined, we got 12 of them, then we're going to turn right back around and we're going to determine one winner out of the 12 that's going to become the world boss. Hey, y'all seen it here on the show, live and living color. That's the man himself. That's Fireball, the man in California. That's the man to beat. That's the man that's got the target on his back.
Yeah.
All that bullshit, all that smack talking, all that shit that all them big dogs want to do. Hey, there's y'all's guy. Y'all know what he looks like. Y'all deal with it. Fireball, be blessed, be safe, man. Much love to you, man. Tell the family we asked about him. We'll catch
Congratulations,
you
man.
here soon.
Okay. We'll talk to you later. Are you still
All
going
right,
to keep
Fire.
running the show? Is he going to have another person? Or
Yeah.
this shit-
We're,
Okay.
everything's gonna be okay, Fireball. We gonna be in touch with you. You hang tight.
Okay. All right.
All right, homie.
Congratulations,
Take care,
bro. We'll
Fireball.
talk. Appreciate
Thanks,
you,
guys. Thanks.
man. That was cool.
Great,
But you know what?
great
That's-
guy.
Great guy, and that's what makes the Super Bowl special. Because if everybody was the same, man, it'd be boring. So everybody got their own little flavor, their own.
Everybody's
little,
got their own
thing
flavor.
there. Yeah, man. He did what he had to do. He's a
Hey.
Region 2 champ.
The people's choice. Reverend Ike's famous words. That man is the people's choice, and that's just what it is, and that's how it is. Prime Minister said something one time. He said, "That's how the cookie crumbles." Didn't he say that? That's how the cookie crumbles. Prime. That is how the cookie crumbles right there. That is the people's choice. Hey, but y'all listen. Check this out, man. We kind of got off to a little rough start, a little lagging start, but we okay. We up and we running. But producer keep kicking my ass on this time right here. But man, we got a super great guest for y'all backstage. He is still backstage, isn't he?
Yeah.
He
Give me a
got his
thumbs up back
bags and
there.
hauled ass. Huh?
Give me a thumbs up back there backstage. Let me see. Okay, we good. We good to go.
Yeah, we good. This guy right here, man, super great guy, super big energy, super almighty, bodacious station, man. When you talk about a station, when you talk about the 10-8, when you talk about the hammer, when you talk about all that, that's this guy right here. Not only is he a great guy in the CB world, but he also does a lot of mentoring through the younger guys on the CB band, because, and we'll get into that with him, and his story is off the chain. His story is unbelievable. They ain't but one way to just put it out here. The Poconos pimps in the house. The pimp is 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 in. I can go all night. Hey, the CEO of the Sneaky Pete Corporation.
I was trying to find some pimp music, but it was a little too late to pull out some pimp music for you, man.
What's up, family? How y'all doing?
We're doing
Good. Welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
It's good to be here. You know, first and foremost, hats off to Fireball for doing this thing and putting in that work. So I do want to give you props, Fireball. That's for sure.
Oh.
Awesome.
So, hey, man, listen, man, when we get lucky, when we get lucky enough to get a guy like you, to take time out of your schedule, all the stuff with work that you got going on, to get up in here and kick it with us. Man, I don't even know where we start with a guy like you. You know what I mean? You've done so much in the game, for so long, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't bring no animosity to the table. You don't have no hatred in your heart, and what I said is what I picked up on when we talked earlier, about the mentoring and stuff that you're giving back to some of the younger guys in this game that you see, maybe might be turning their demeanor towards other people and not getting a fair look, and that's where you step in. Just start us from the tracks, man. Start us from the front page and take us home. Yeah, from the inception. Take us from the bottom to the top.
So first and foremost, man, I'm blessed to be able to still be in the game. Coming August, I've been on the band for 51 years.
Wow.
I started talking on the bowl at 9 years old. Raised up on the radio by Old Man on the Cane, Bad News 456. And my first handle was Puppy Toes. And I went from Puppy Toes. And when I talked on the bowl, and like I said, I was 9 years old, they didn't allow everybody to come to the bowl. So it was just like when you go play basketball in the hood and the old heads is playing, y'all had to wait till the old heads get off the court before you can get on the court and show a little something. So I used to get my time out there when they used to go to the Rooster Channel Jumpers. They used to go to those breaks, and I'd be on the bowl. My dad had a Moonraker 6 and a Phantom. That's what I talked on. So imagine at 9 years old, 10 years old, my little hustling money, because I used to blow my dad's Phantom, and you just could put a fuse in the back. So you should see me going to Radio Shack, blow out fuses, right? Because I used to be blowing up that Phantom, out there talking, trying to fight, at an early age. And, I went to end up being 369, then the young man, because Old Man on the Cane, he changed himself to Old Man, so I wanted to be the young man. And, getting out there on the radio, man, I say this, I came full circle. Because when I got old enough, and that's when I came to Pimp, to buy my own station, because my dad didn't, he just was happy to talk, and I wanted to be the man. And, I idolized Old Man on the Cane, Bad News, because he taught me about radio. He taught me how to read the radio, how to listen to the radio. And he taught me first and foremost about having an antenna, because the antenna, is the key. And then we talk about having a good radio, and then we start talking about watts. So, and he had a little bit of everything. So, Keystone Boss, we go back, Fancy Dance, all them guys, remember we grow up, and in Philadelphia, Lights Out know me from a long ways. And so when I got older, and I was getting that, that fast money, that good money, what I thought was good money, I started putting a station together. And I had some ego, and I went and bought a John Boy. I had a John Boy. No whipping like a John Boy, whipping because the John Boy whipping.
Don't stop.
You know what I'm saying? And I remember having that. and I remember blowing a tube in the box, and I'm advertising this, man, and I ain't got nothing to say, I'm advertising. I told him, hey, I blew a tube and I ain't even running this box hard. And he told me, oh, this is a part of the game. That's just, you want to be the man, that's a part of the game. And, I moved on from him and I moved into Got a Guy Rifleman in the Carolinas, built me something.
Mm-hmm.
And, I started talking a little bit more, and I thought I was somebody. I remember coming in Pal Talk and, I was going after Feel Good because Feel Good was a guy in Pennsylvania. And I know Fireball sitting up there laughing his ass off because he's remembering this, and I used to fight Feel Good. And Feel Good would never say he lost. If he get 2 keys on you, he whipped your ass, but he never would say he lost. And I remember, arguing with the guys in there because, I'm the man out here. I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I wanted that prestige. And I never forget, an older guy told me, he came in the room, he says, look, Pimp, he said, you're doing your thing. But if you want to be the man, let people talk about what you're doing, not you out there talking, because you bragging, they're going to always, this going to always be a problem, And I remember when these belts came out, because, I did win the belt, like, a few years in a row, you know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Show
them up. Let me see.
I won the belts
Look
a
at
couple times, you know what I'm saying? So I,
2 of them.
Oh, and I got one around my waist too, but what I mean, I ain't saying that, I'm just
Damn, you got 3 of them?
And I remember I was a heavy hitter. So me and Ghetto Kid was going, we was running for the Northeast corner. And I never forget that, me and Ghetto was just talking and we both hood dudes, and I remember allowing myself to come out of pocket, and I didn't like how I came out of pocket. And I never forget, Black Ice came in and Black Ice said, Pimp, hold up, it's not about that. And I remember checking my own self because, being raised up in the streets, I had no older brothers. So I learned a lot in the streets, good and bad, and I remember how my mentality was. So it's funny how things happen in life that turn you around. Me having to lose 2 kids and my wife within 13 months, it humbled me. And I remember wanting to take my life. I was like, I had lost purpose because all the stuff that I did in the streets, man, there's people that didn't do 1/10 of what I did, and they're not here to answer the call. Mm-hmm. So, I remember fussing at God and saying, God, why is you punishing me? Why is you doing this? Why did you take them away? I'm the one. I'm that dude that was doing those things, And there's some people came into my life, man, and they said God doesn't, he was preparing you for this all along, the things that you went through, so that you be able to stand tall and be a testimony. And bad attitude. So I'm gonna shift a little gears here. So that's why a lot of people ask me why, I'm so tight with bad attitude. He bites your head off when you're out there. He be talking to you, I'm a has-been, you this, that, and the other. I remember having that mentality, and I know his heart. He a good dude. So I call myself, I take him under my wing, and I spend a lot of time with him. And people that know bad attitude can see that he's changing. Now, don't get me wrong. Amen. Some days he pop off real slick, and me and him get at it. I said, yo, don't make me have to come down to Philly. That is my town. But it's all good. We just, I just kick it. And I believe in giving back because this was a dying game. And what y'all done is got some young people getting involved in the radio. You brought some spark back to it because, talking on a bowl, a lot of times we talk to people and have a relationship with people just talking on the radio, but never met them. And then you go to the break and then you get a chance to put the voice with with the face and everything of the sort like that, and y'all end up building a bond. So, I really enjoy the radio and giving back, because I love this hobby. So getting to the point of how I got to this station that I got now, because this station I've been running for the last 9 years. Pete built this. And I don't think nobody's going to ever make me have to upgrade. I'm not even running to my full capability, know. But we never know, But I got this station, and I'm thinking about something because I'm missing somebody, man, that I used to talk to every morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. That was John Deere. We talked about this, this antenna that I got, and I told him, I will always keep the legend alive until the day I die.
Amen.
Because he was a real dude. He was a real dude. And so I built this station, and that's how I got into the, Pete, when he built my station, he named me the CEO. Now there's a lot of people with sneaky Pete's, but he named me the CEO because he knew how I was going to handle things out there on the band. He knew I was going to represent him well, in which I do. And then I still had that little swagger with me. I had that Jimmy Swagger type of thing, I called myself so-and-so because they used to call me every name but a child of God. So I said, just call me so-and-so,
Yeah.
and then I just went on and, I remember fighting, 144, and I used to call myself the peg leg pimp. I broke my foot off in him, and I used to do all those kind of things.
He used to get mad. He used to get mad too. He used to get mad too.
And I used to do all these kind of things, and then Bad Attitude came around, and I never forget. He talked. He says, "Yo, man, Pep, I want to be the man on the band. I want to, teach me some swag." And so, I was teaching some things and used to try to use stuff against me. That's when I called myself the East Coast Assassin. You know what I'm saying? Because, there's a lot of guys out here, and, you got Double Nickel, you have Sandman, you got The Voice, you got Painkiller, you got my baby brother, that he fight me to the end, real black man. I tell you something, if you ain't ready to battle, so, you got a lot of stations, and I fight them all. But then I fight the Lakes, I fight North Carolina, Georgia, Florida. I fight everywhere. So I built this station. So when this competition thing came out here, and I was gone for them 4 days, and they was talking about how things was going, and I was hearing all kind of people getting their names called and this, that, and the other. So I came back and I said, I'm gonna call myself the gatekeeper. And I came out here and brutalized the band for a couple of days. I wouldn't let nothing move. Because I wanted people to know I got a station. Like, I have nobody around me. I fight people on other people's conditions, on their conditions, because of I'm 1,800 feet above sea level. So I can fight with the guys in Connecticut. I can fight with the guys in New York. I can fight with Philadelphia. I can fight with everything around in this area. You know what I'm saying? But when my conditions come, they can't touch me because I'm on my own conditions. But my elevation and some watts allow me to be able to do what I do, And then, so, I mean, we got another person that I tell you that I love him to death, and that's Tony Montana. I love that boy to death. You know what I'm saying? He stayed true. I'm starting to think about some things, guys, and here's a thug, a gangster, right? They get emotional with sometimes, as I start talking about how people was important in my life for me to kind of make this circle. Because I'm not the same guy I used to be on the band. People that knew me before, man, but Pep always want to fight. He talk about you, he drag you, run some dirty fives, he do, and I'm not that guy now. Now, don't get me wrong, I can get to that side, but then I feel
there.
I feel bad when I do it. So I built this station. Go ahead. What you was about to ask me?
No, I was saying, getting back to Tony, he's a good dude, man. He, even when, the stuff that I went through with my grandson, passing away a couple months, and, he was one of the few people that just reached out to me and encouraged me. And, every morning to this day, he sends me some inspirational stuff from the Bible and stuff every morning, and, he's just a good dude, man. And we've had a long talk, about you, about BA, about a lot of guys, and just how it's easy to go to the right, you know what I'm saying? But you got to keep focused. And he's one of the guys, just getting back to what you're saying, and I kind of agree with you. He's one of the guys that kind of, like, when you're feeling down and you feel you want to do something on the band, he's kind of one of the guys that puts you back in your place and be like, hey man, this is the way we need to be. We need to set an example. And I love the dude for it. Tony's a good dude, man.
He really is, man. And people hear him on that the radio, and we identify with each other. He's that gangster in New Jersey, but everybody see him as that smooth dude. But his heart, man, is unreal. And he sends me that morning text, and I pass that on. I send that out to other people, because it's about sharing that word, And people hear me on the radio now. They see when I'm out there talking, sometimes I'm talking in reference about God and how good He is, and this, that, and the other, and people get mad because I'm plugging ears, I'm plugging ears, but it's only through God's grace and mercy that we out here talking and able to do what we do.
Amen.
And so, it's just something, and I look at it like this. I never forget when old man only came, he was on dialysis, and he used to not go to dialysis to go to breaks, and I used to always worry about him. I go over there and he drink a Pepsi. So I take him a Pepsi, go over there and talk on the station, when I was a young kid coming up. And I never forget, he told me, he said, nephew, and I wasn't his nephew, but he just called me his nephew. He says, I want you to be the guy to represent this Northeast corner. And with great, I always say this on the band, with great power comes big responsibility. And I look at it, I'm getting up in age. Who would have thought, my son passed at 35 years old. My daughter passed at 33. I'm 59. I'll be 60. You never know when you're going to get called home. My dad is 90. My mom is 89. So you never know that moment. But I look at, how do we keep this game going? How do we keep this game going? And how do we pass that on? So that's why I kind of locked into BA, because he's got a stick, he's got a hammer, he's got a station. To tell you the truth, I mean, he's the one that makes me get up in that pump house. He makes me, after a while, every once in a while, I got to take my belt off, what I'm saying? And beat my son. But but he's got that, he's a young gun.
He's strong too, yeah.
You got Lights Out, but Lights Out, a lot of people don't know he 80 years old. He just had facelifts. Lights Out ain't no guy,
Got some facelift.
Botox.
Botox, So, everybody think Lights Out a young guy, right? But Lights Out old, you know what I'm saying? You got the voices, but Voice been doing this thing for a while, So you look at
who's Voice been around a long time, yeah.
Yeah, Vice Grip, another young guy, but Vice Grip don't talk out there as much. So, who's going to be that person, to kind of keep that game along and teach the next generation about how this thing going, So, that's what we try to do. And this competition thing that y'all did, kind of brought that out. Now, I ain't gonna lie. I got to talk about the elephant in the room, because I know a lot of people wondering, was I upset, when things went down? Yeah, I went through some feelings because I'm competitive. I tell y'all now, I told a new kid, I told him, I said, look, you better stay on the run, man. Northeast corner is vicious. We fight up here. You know what I'm saying? We fight up here. Look, y'all can be in 5 more regions. The Northeast corner still fighting. We still
fighting every day.
We said to ourselves, a few times amongst each other, talking, drinking beer and shit and shooting the shit, right? We're like, man, I don't know if we're ever going to make it through this damn Northeast corner, I know I said that to myself. I was like, damn, I know what we were getting into. I went around and around with 413. I said, man, I knew what we were getting into. I said, but damn, I didn't know it was going to be all this, But
well, I tell you something, man.
We're skinned up now, though.
Yeah, and I tell you, when y'all started in this corner, I said, do y'all know what y'all getting ready to get yourselves into? You know how competitive this Northeast corner is?
It took off. The corner took off.
Yeah, it took off, And my brother, we talked about this, Vinny 413. It's another guy that he doesn't even come out there and really use his station. And he's got a hell of a station. And that's Tony Montana. He got a hell of a station. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he come out there and talk when he want to talk, but the competition thing, and I tried to get him back into the game because we got to pass this knowledge on. But that RF and you fighting out there, kind of, it brings another side out.
He told me before. He said, "Man, 413, I get out there and talk, and then within a half an hour later, I see the Jersey City coming out of me, man. I start getting ghetto again. So I gotta take a step back. And I understand where he's coming from, because you come out there and you start talking, you have a good time, and all of a sudden, you get a bad 5 or something pass on you, and all of a sudden you get, you start getting hyped up, and then you start talking. Then after you shut everything down, at the end of the day, it's like, damn, should I approach that like that? Should I have said what I said? And then you start second guessing yourself.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what? This is what I don't understand. And Pimp, you're the perfect example to voice this out there, and then give me your input back because of the station that you got and what you're capable of doing with it. Why does people think that you're not supposed to beat them up with your mouth, with your words? What else can I do? If me and you were fighting and we're going to 413, that's my, I can't physically put my hands on you to be able to verbally abuse you or do something, make you come. I mean, am I thinking wrong? Because you're vocally fighting a guy. What are you left to do? How are you to fight him proper? Or, I mean, enlighten me on this. I mean,
so I tell people they couldn't been on the Super Bowl back in the day because they rolled some hard fights, man. They rolled some rough fights, man. They rolled some rough fights, but it's a way of whipping on a person, and you don't have to be guttish about it. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to bring family. You don't have to bring their wife into it. You don't have to talk about, a guy on his knees and he swat. You don't have to go to those levels, And I remember one time, somebody up in the Northeast corner, was out there because it's like I said, I named off a few people, but I can't leave Choke Chain out. I can't leave 434 out. 333, I can't leave him out. And me and 333, we used to go at it, but we became real cool. But I remember being on the radio and somebody ran a racist 5 on me, and I wanted to react but I would have made myself, too many people know me. I could have went there, but I ended up running some other kind of fire back on them to make them feel, a little bit different. I didn't go there. So what I'm saying is, Jimmy, yes, we get out there and we fight. We this, that, and the other. We cut somebody ready off and this, that, and the other. But it's a way. It's a way. I mean, I'm going to tell you something. You know what hurts a person the most? When I'm talking to 413 and you key down and cut my radio off and 413 says, Roger, right on, Jimmy. Roger, right. And
that's a bad feeling.
I thought I
just take the whole talk show.
It just took this. Just like somebody going in your pocket and taking your money. Grabbing
but what I noticed about you, Pimp, like you're not passing fives no more. Like one day we was key to California some. I tried to jump on Pimp because we had like the East West, and then he keyed on me. Instead of passing the bad five, he said, "Tell him I am my brother's keeper." He said, "I am my brother's keeper." I was like, "Oh, that's a good five." He kind of skull drove me being nice.
He's bad.
And I'm gonna tell you something. It comes over time, of having that swagger. A lot of people can come out there and talk and have hammers, but they don't have no game. They don't have no. I mean, people want to talk to me. You know what I'm saying? And everything because I got game. I make a cat make a laugh. You know what I'm saying? I tell them all the time. I'll come off with some stuff off the hip, and because back in the day we played the dozens, we did those kind of things. But I just tell you, Jimmy, I feel as though it's just too many. It's easy to go left. It's easy to run some negative fives on it, but like I said, with great power come great responsibility.
Words well spoken.
So I can go out there and make a person feel real bad because by me calling myself the East Coast assassin, the gatekeeper, I'm pushing somebody to key against me. I want them to come.
You're antagonizing. You're indicting. You're You're antagonizing them. You're indicting them to come out.
Yes, I do that, and I know I put the target on my back. But that's what the station that I built. I built the station, Pete built this station, man, and I can never thank him because when people paid a lot of money, he just did me right. And then I got a radio. I just got the missing piece that D-Rail, after I had those deaths, D-Rail pulled me up and says, "Look, Pep, I need to do something for you. I want to do something for you." So I went down there and he did a radio up for me, and we messed around for 3 hours. He ain't work on nothing else in that shop but that radio with me for 3 hours. Now, everybody know he got business, but he wanted my voice to match. He wanted everything to be perfect, and so, as you be in this game, man, people know your heart, know you. They do things for you. They do things for you.
For sure.
So I'll just tell you, Jimmy, when you put that station together, you don't have to be telling Swamp Weed, that box is held together with glue or whatever. And you don't have to come out there, you know what I mean? Because 413 already caused me to lose a lot of friends. I don't talk and I don't talk on the pile that much because he done caused me to lose friends down there. But I'm just saying. Just as an example.
When and I know Swamp Weed, he's either watching the show or he'll watch it. But Swamp Weed waiting on me like a female hog waiting to lay her ass in mud. You understand what I'm saying?
That man
you think I'm a dumbass? You think I'm a dummy? I ain't no dummy.
Hey, Big Blue ain't no joke. Big Blue ain't no joke, But that man over there, Mr. Daytona, he ain't no joke neither, So I mean, it's just a way, me and Real Black Man, we'll get out there and we'll be running fives. And people say, man, how could y'all say y'all cool? But we'll be running fives on each other. I talk about he a drunk and he got kicked out the family. And, I tell Switchblade that, he my brother and he slept on the top bunk. He used to pee on me and I'd be wet and he'd be dry.
Yeah.
What was the one I like you say? You say they got under the bed with their marbles or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But see, that's good. That's good stuff. But you can't do that with everybody.
No, you can't do that. I mean, I mess with Lights Out. I tell people, you know, he came over my house, he stole my G.I. Joe. Man. You know, you can do that with certain people, but you can't do it with everybody because people take it personal. You know, people take it personal. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but you know, this is a competitive game, though.
Very, very.
Absolutely.
People don't realize how much it is competitive.
And expensive. It's expensive.
Well, it's doubled. It's doubled now.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I said, you know, when we built my station, I told Pete, I said, you know what, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to be. This is what I want to be able to do. You know, and like I still have one more move to make that I've never even made. Like I'm not on a high tap on my power supply. You know, I got 600 amps at the house, but you know, I spread my stuff on out. You know, so so it's my box I put it on is only running on 200 amps. I got my generator in the rest of the house running on 200 amps, and I got 200 amps just for my drivers. So, you know, it's more stuff to do now. When it comes to that point when somebody goes start whipping me, I'm gonna tell you right now, the whole 600 amp is going to their power supply.
Right to the box.
And the lights will be hooked up to a generator.
You got that under your hat. Keep it under your hat.
Now, you talk good about Sneaky Pete and all this, and most people who know you, whether we know to what extent we know you, if they know of you, then they know that, you know, everybody knows that Pete's your guy, right? But I don't want to just bluntly, but for the viewers, you know, we got a lot of viewers sitting here, you know, watching you, you know. Is there anything we can tell our viewers about what you're operating over there? I mean, we got a 3,000, you got a 6-peel, you're 7,500 feet in the air. I mean, what's going on over there? Can we talk about any of that there, Brake?
So I'm going to go from this point right here. My baby driver is 2 500Zs. My
baby driver
is a 3,000. Okay. And it's a big monster that's sitting in the corner. So you know I'm using a 3,000 for a driver. Okay, that's the driver. You know, and then you know, we had I put it, look, ain't no shame in my game. We had it up as a 3-tuber. You know what I'm saying? We made some adjustments, and I'm ready to put it back to the 3 tubes. 4 CX 15,000s. You know, ain't no shame in my game, because I tell a person, just come and get it. Ain't no shame, just come and get it. You know, but the fact of it is what he can do, and how, you know, when we put that other piece back on it, because like I said, I'm on 2 now. I go back to put that 3rd one back in line. Once somebody starts putting some hiccups, I would tell you something. I'm so doggone competitive. I'm not going to allow nobody to be putting hickeys on my head on a consistent basis. It just can't happen. You know what I'm saying?
It's not going to happen.
Right now, speaking the way you're running and the way you see the Northeast corner, who is the closest one to you right now that you be like, hold up, I might have to make that move on this one?
I'm going to tell you right now, you know, bad attitude, double nickel can make me do something sometimes. Bad attitude really makes me do the most. And the reason why, he's 200 and something miles in front of me. So I'm fighting to be on his conditions. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm able to come on people conditions. Now, the voice, I know he's putting together a station up there. So I'm waiting patiently on that one, because, you know, I want to see what he can do. I know what I can do. You know what I'm saying? But that would be, I'm gonna tell you, that's really my competition. Now, Real Black Man, he'll just keep me out there. And that can't be, we'll put some hickeys, but he'll keep me out there. That's my brother. I love him. But that can't be.
He tough now. He tough.
He tough. You know, Vice Grip used to put me some work, but I mess with Vice Grip. I call him my shoe shine boy. You know what I'm saying? So Sandman used to be tough. Yeah. But if I have to say who's the toughest, it would be Bad Attitude.
He's running.
He's running the tough. But you know what? Every now and then, You know, like I said, you know, I gotta take
You
my
gotta take your
belt
belt off.
off. That's my son. And, you know, I gotta take my belt off. He put some, you know, he get cocky. You know, because another thing, you know, I'm gonna say this, Jim. Another thing, what people haven't learned with my station, sometimes people are big me, but what I'm doing is learning how to feel what amount of watts I need to run to take them out. Because when you got a big station, it's not about all the time going and don't turn it all the way up. It's about figuring out what watts you need to run. You
Nice.
know, and you know what I'm saying? So this is like a teaching moment here. You know,
Yes, sir.
having different stages. A lot of times when I'm out there playing, I'm just taking my driver, my baby driver, and I'm hitting the big box. And then they do what it do. When somebody's kind of giving me some work, I might go to my baby driver to my 3,000. Or, you know, I'll go out there and I'll key about 10,000 and let it swing forward to about 20 something. And then that's when people see how long I can stay on the key. But see, I ain't got to rush up off the key.
Yeah.
I got that kind of station that I don't have to rush up off the key. I tell a person real quick, I'm in a trench coat when I'm out there keying. It's cold in my CB room. It's cold in my CB room.
You one of those stations that $5 radio talk about. You ain't got no shootout station.
I ain't got no shootout. I told Pete, if I got to say Pennsylvania Pep got down, hell with that. You'll never hear me fight nobody going in no shootout mode. I just don't do that. That's what my station is built for. You know, so
now tell us a little bit about Pete. Pete is probably the only technician that I have never had the privilege of meeting. But I've heard so many great things about Pete. Tell us a little bit about Pete for people like myself that don't really know Pete or haven't had the chance to meet him. What kind of guy is he? Is he a guy that takes a long time to build your station, or he jumps right on it and starts knocking it out and just bring us to date with what kind of guy Pete is and how he operates?
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. At one time, Pete couldn't tell people no. And he was building so many freaking boxes. He had so many boxes going on, and he was in high demand. Now, a lot of people ain't going to say this. You know, they got other technicians, but Pete worked on a lot of people's boxes. But let me tell you something about this man. This man came up my house, built my station. So, you know, you start on the bottom, right? Flip it over. Then you start working on the top. I said, man, you ain't touched nothing. He said, I ain't got to do. Once I put the station together, that's off of memory. Ain't no schematic. Off of memory. That's how, you know what I'm saying? And then when your station go down, when he was at my house, people was calling him and asking him questions. Here's a technician that you could call him up and he'll tell you what is wrong with your box, what the checks, and free. This ain't no, you know what I'm saying? This ain't no about the money thing with him. And that's what I love and respect about this man.
Cool.
He's a humble dude. He's a
you ain't gotta lug it from Philly all up from the Poconos all the way down to Arkansas down there.
I don't have to lug it. I can tell him. He say, look, take the bottom off. Take some pictures. Send them to me. Okay, this is what's wrong. This is what's wrong. You know what I mean? And I'm the type of guy now, you know, I got a degree in electronics. I don't be going in them boxes, man, because I done seen too many people. I don't know a lot of people get hit. You know what I'm saying? But first he tell me, look, I need you to short this out. I need you to do this. I need you to make sure, you know, and that's that type of technician he is. I call him the Maytag man. You know how the Maytag man be reading the paper because his boxes just don't come back? You know what I mean? The people that have problems with the boxes is when they don't listen. You know how, you guys know, you know, you go over there and the technician tune your box out, and he ain't get 5 miles down the road. You tune it, you twist it now.
You call him.
Push it up. Check kaboom.
You said, look, I know I can get about 1,000 more watts out this thing here. You know what I'm saying?
Doorknob in pieces.
You know,
I said it plenty of times on the show. 90% of a lot of of the amplifier breakdowns is actually the CB operator. You know, you want to get a little bit more. You tune it a different way. You're not tuning to where you talk. You know, there's a lot of variables that you learn from blowing crap up. Now you figure out. You know what I mean? When you don't listen to tech, you blow up. And then you figure it out, be like, "Hey, I'm not going to do this no more because this is what's going to make me blow up." So
but
kind
you
of got to go through the road through the road. Go ahead, sorry.
But
Go ahead,
but
man.
but no, it's me. It's me. But the way I'm hearing. But hey, listen. The thing is what techs don't understand. Techs. That's a crazy word, anyways, to use. But techs don't understand their people to 100%. Because if you understand the person, then you already know what to put together for them because you know how they're gonna run that shit
oh, there you go.
off rip.
And you know what? When Pete built my station, now I'm gonna tell you somebody else that had done something for me. And matter of fact, I won the first belt off a pair of 800s, and that was 418. 418 built me a pair of 800s.
Oh, wow.
I called him my
I didn't
baby
know that.
brother. You know what I'm
I didn't know
saying?
that.
Before I got with Pete, he built me a pair of freaking 800s, and I talked my behind off on them 800s. But when Pete built my station, this is what I told him, you know, and I know he a technician. He know more than what I ever know. But I told him, I says, look, I want to make sure that when I key, I'm flat and going back into my baby driver. I'm flat going back into that 3000, and we'll look at what my output reflex is, you know, because I can put the house out there and I got maybe 120 watts of reflex, and that's the house, you know. So, you know, I looked at those things, but I also told Pete, I said, look, Pete, I got to have, I'm long-winded. I got to have key down time. So I don't want you to put no inferior box, because I know some technicians, man, that put some stuff in your box, and you know, you got a 10,000 and you go to key 10,000, or they tell you, oh, you ain't supposed to be keying that. You know, you're supposed to run that box around 8,000. This man, who buys a box and they gonna run? If I got a 10, I'm looking to see can I get 20. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
You know,
Right. CBers, they want the CBer wants the smallest box for the smallest amount of money, but will do the most power it can do. That's the CBer. That's the CBer's dream right there.
That's pretty much in a nutshell. Yeah, yeah. But you know, just like anybody says, if you want to do simple question, you want to do 20,000 watts, you need a box that'll do 40,000. That's the way you gotta look at it, because if you're gonna get a box that does 20 and you're gonna keep it at 20, you're gonna stay broke down. That's all there is to it.
You're gonna stay broke down. You're not going to make it. You're not going to last. You know, you're not going to last. And I told people another thing you got to learn: real watts and false watts. Because a lot of people don't know that. Some people be turning around and they say, "Man, I key. You know, I got a 3,000, and I'm getting 18,000 watts out of it." I said, well, you know, that tube oscillating, you know what I'm saying? That tube oscillating, right?
Take the cover off that bitch. Let's see what color it is. That's what I want to see. I want to see what color is it. There's some red and blue shit on that too.
We all been there, man. You get a box and you got a lot of reflect. All of a sudden you're like, oh, this box is getting down. And all of a sudden when you start getting that reflect out of it, you're like, well, hold up. I ain't seeing the watts I was seeing before. What happened?
Yeah, what happened here? What happened here? I ain't seeing the watts. What a minute. Something wrong. Let me go back to tuning some more. Boom.
Yeah.
Another story, another thing I could say that, you know, as a learning experience, you know, running a big box is, you know, I ran a Bird 43. And a Bird 43, once you go like 20, 25,000 watts, now you're starting to see a little bit different. Then once I put that into 5/8 line section, I was like, man, I lost all these watts, because I was starting. It's a big difference, you know. There's all these little tricks that you learn by experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, is once you put that king snake type of coax up, you know, that big shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
When you put that big stuff up in that 1.5 inch, right? You start seeing a little bit, you know, things look a little bit different. You're like, wait a minute.
yeah.
I had that bird 43. I was slamming that 25K in the corner. Bam, bam. You know, now I got this 50K and I'm not half the scale. You know?
But you know what though? A lot of people, when you got small watts, like you said, them 2500Zs hitting that 3,000, man, when you got guys on stations like that, man, they're so dominant. They're so gung ho. They got so much drive. It's like, man, they'll get out of a truck and go right in the store and rob a bank, and they leave the burglar mask in the back seat. You know what I mean? They don't give a shit about no burglar mask. They come outside the sweet thing talking about, baby, you forgot this. F that. Get in the car. Throw the bag in the back. Throw the gun in the back. You know what I mean? But you Tech done put them on a big box. Now they done showed up. They done showed up to the house, pair of 20s, 2,000-3,000s for a driver, 6 tube 800 for the driver. That, you know what I'm saying? They got all this shit. They got all this shit. Now they're out there doing 35,000 watts. What's his name? My man over there up there in the lakes come out there and he says, Spider box, Mobile, Spider box, Mobile. Come on, Jimmy. And man, it's like they just stop keying. They don't even want to key no more. And they homeboys call them and say, hey, man, what happened? Why you stopped dead sentence? Oh, man, my radio went to zero. No, dog, your radio didn't go to zero. Your shit moved from 60 pounds to 58 pounds, and now you really got to watch that radio. I don't know why. Why does it happen like that? Guys with smaller boxes become more dominant than the bigger guys. Why? And you're a big guy, but you don't do that. So that's why I'm asking you to bring that.
So the thing of it is, like, this condition is right here, and when the northeast corner was running, you can hear everybody keying, but sometimes, guys, you put too much watts out there, and you overshoot it. Another thing that a lot of people don't recognize is these antennas. So I used to have an antenna, right, that it talked very good with low watts. But when I start putting big watts into it, like, you hit a brick wall at 10 grand. I could put 20 grand in it.
Oh.
It hit a brick wall. These optimized beams, you know. So you watch a guy with small watts, like my friend with that Spider Box 45, talking about 6 pill Mobile, right? And the guy turn around, you know, and they hear him coming back to him. You would think they would say, well, you know what? If this guy, or I know that Pimp is only running about 3,000, that's what his capability is, or 10,000, maybe I need to bring my watts down. They won't do that. They'll turn their watts up. You know, this skip right now that's running, it's not for big watts. It's about filling out that range. You don't have to have big watts out there.
Yeah.
It's people talking now with way less watts, you know, and that's why you got to have stages in. You know, for me, I got a big station, but I got stages in. I can take my radio and I can dial it down to do whatever I want it to do. I can make it where it keep with small watts, or I can run it up to be able to keep a big watts. You know, and that's that adjustment. But Jimmy, you're 100% right. Guys now, and see, I've learned in radio, so it's some tricks to the trade when you see a guy from 60, right? Then he dropped down to 30. It's some things that you can do in reference on that to bring a person back, you know. You know, it's about knowing what you got to have out there. So when I got somebody that's throwing me 60 dBs, I'm probably only putting them maybe about 5 or 10,000 watts out there. When he drops back to about 40, I probably got to go to about 10 to 15, 10 to 20, because I got to double my watts because he done fell back, so conditions starting to move. You know, it's a feeling out process, but you don't know that until you've been out there for a while.
Seat time. You got to have a lot of seat time and figuring it out.
Yeah, it's seat time. You know what I'm saying? It's also, have you ever been talking, Skip, like I was pointing in California and I'm talking in Texas. Sometimes it's curved. Sometimes it's curved, and then you go to move your beam to Texas and the guy fall out your radio.
You lose them. You lose them. Yeah.
So it's about understanding conditions and knowing how to read your radio. It's a trick to it. It's a trick to it. Because my technician, I watch Pete whip these kind of niggas that got 220s, and he ain't running nothing but a doggone Clydesdale, little 3000 down there on a Henry. He's running a Henry, right?
Wow.
And he's whipping them, but he's learned the conditions. He learns how to.
Pete's built a lot of big stations too. I mean, I know he built Budweiser 360 over there in Tennessee,
420s.
Kentucky.
He's in
420s.
He's in
Tennessee. He's in Tennessee.
He's in Tennessee. Yeah.
Then you got, I remember
he's built it all.
I remember down here there used to be a guy, you probably remember him, Boxcar Willie.
With the box
that freak box. That
was a freak
they
box.
used to call it a freak box. Yeah.
It was a freak box. It was 220s that could do $100,000.
That was actually a very, very beautiful box.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, people try to copy Pete boxes, but he make them all different ways. You don't see the same design on it. But he said he could never freaking get that one back. But I ain't gonna tell you no lie. He did something freaky with my box.
You got a freak box too?
He got the special one.
Yeah, that's why I'm the CEO. That's right.
Yeah, there's always something that comes with that shit. When you call yourself shit like Gatekeeper, the number one assassin, and all this shit. When you got names like this, you got this guy's probably got like a 40-foot by 20-foot building somewhere in the back of his yard, and all his CB shit's in that, right? You know, he ain't got this shit crammed off in the back bedroom that grandmama never got to stay the night in. You understand what I'm saying?
No.
Grandma in the RV. She in the RV because the back room, the radio room. You see,
my CB room. You know, my house. When I bought this house up here, because I was in neighborhoods and people ran me out of neighborhoods and this, that, and the other. So when I got up
this
here,
is the box. Somebody just sent that to me right there. That's the box.
Yeah,
is that the box y'all are talking?
That's Boxcar Willie's, right?
That's Boxcar Willie. That's the box.
That's Boxcar Willie. Yeah,
that's that freak box. But a couple of people don't went in there and did some things to it, so they didn't get a chance to see. But that was a freak box, right there. Small driver. No, he was a bully with that dog on.
Hey, Pip, this shit's like I Dream of Jeannie. You talk about it, somebody text me. You see how that shit works? This shit is no joke, this show, bro. You dream that shit, this shit come to reality on that text. Because these folks, these CBers are something serious with this shit, man. They take this shit serious.
To heart, bro. I'm telling you right now, when our people thought I was going, my wife had got real sick, and I went away from the station radio because it was about taking care of her. Yeah, and right. I remember people used to call me, man, and CBs, and I didn't recognize they was calling me because I wasn't out there putting that stick out there. They was checking on me, right? And the moment Pete came up here and built that station, right, the people stopped calling. It's something about these
using the hammer.
It's something about it, man, that people just don't stay true to the game, as it goes on. And like I told you, they didn't cut coax up here, man. These cameras done roll with people's houses, man. This is a tough area. There's Northeast Corner, man. Ain't nothing to play with.
Are you out in the country, or are you kind of like in the city? I mean, I don't want to pull all your business out of you, but I mean, we do have to. I mean, there's people. Hey, there's only like 5 guys watching the show right now. So them 5 guys, they want to know a little bit about the pimp, how you living, how you looking, shit like that.
So I'm in the country part, right? Where it's a retirement area. Really, a lot of people. I snuck in here. I really ain't got no business even being up in here, but I'm on 5.5 acres, and I got neighbors, but they're not really up on me.
Right.
And it's also, and my beam is only like 38 feet off the ground. But like I said, I'm 1,800 feet.
Yeah, you got the elevation.
100 feet. So, the only thing I bother is when I go to talk to Florida and talk to Puerto Rico and stuff like that, I come across my house. I
Yeah.
bother my house. That's the only thing, you know, I bother this, that, and the other. You know,
Is your beam lined up like to your house, or is it close to your radio room, or however?
well, I got slick. Let me tell you something. After you done had people call the FCC on you and people be freaking searching for you, right? My beam, you can't see my beam. My house is higher than my beam. So, you know what I'm saying? You can't see it. You can't see it. Well, it's just the way the ground is, right? So it's like somewhat level. I mean, like what you would say, it's kind of parallel with the house. Okay, Jimmy? It's parallel with the house. Off on an angle. You know. So I can swing everybody anywhere else. But my weak spot, you know, and ain't no shame in my game. My weak spot is Florida, is Jamaica, because I got to go through the tunnel. So it's a tunnel up here. I point through the mountains. So that's my weakest spot. You know, and people don't say,
everybody got a weak spot. I don't care who you are,
Everybody.
what station you got. You like, bam, I talk Northeast. That's my strong spot. I talk to California, but when I go down to Blue Water, just like
I
you
agree.
said, you know your station, you know how you perform and where your weak spot is.
Yeah, but I tell anybody, don't even think about messing with me going to Cali. Don't even think about going out west with me.
Yeah,
You know, don't
I
even.
can hear you when you go to Cali. Like the other day, I was just in my radio room and I was just listening. I could hear both sides of the conversation. Now I had Cali skip, but your scatter was so loud, and it wasn't a distorted scatter. It was a clean. I had 9 dB of just clean audio coming from me. I was like, wow, he's got some weight out there, man. Because you
Did that
could hear
scare
the
you?
grumbling. Huh?
Did that scare you? You talk like it scared you. Did it scare you?
Yeah. I didn't even turn my filaments on. I wasn't even gonna waste my time.
Let me mock you. Let me mock you. I heard your. I want to mock you real quick. I ain't made fun of you yet. Hold on, let me make fun of you. Here you go. You're like, I hear your scatter.
Hey, you know when you hear somebody scatter and you can hear that grumbling in the like, you know a dude got some weight out there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that means don't key up. That's what it means. Don't key up. Don't key
that
up.
warning sign. Yeah, don't touch that microphone.
When you hear that shit like roar, roar, don't key up. Don't key up. That's what that means.
Jimmy, I kind of got my brother. I got my brother kind of thinking because you know that he was talking out there, Cali. He was just talking this behind on off, you know. And I went on up there and stepped on in there. Then he jumped on me. So then I came back and keyed on him, saying, "I'm my brother's keeper." Hey,
smooth shit.
Yeah, I wanted to put some weight. I wanted him to hear what I was putting out there. You know.
Yeah, he heard it. He just told you right now. He told you right now. He heard that shit out there. Rah, rah, rah. You know. Yeah, that's that 200 in reserve he's got over there.
I was like this. I was like, I'm gonna catch Pip. Hold on. Then I heard that shit. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, but that's that 200 amps in reserve he's sitting over there talking about he's got. You know. Yeah,
he sent everybody for an okie doke over there.
No, I've heard him. He's got a real good talk game. He really does, and he talks with energy. I could listen to him pretty much all day because you know he's got the pep in his step. He brings it. He's high energy. He's talking loud. He's working his crowd. You know, so. Hey, Pip, I'm a fan, man. I'm a fan. I'm not a hater. I'm a fan.
I appreciate it. I really do. You know, I remember, and it touched me, and he don't know how much it did touch me. You know, I always, like I said, Clarence Carter, I wanted a station like what he used to do in Texas. And I remember trying to talk to him. He wouldn't even talk to me. He knew my dad and everything, but he wouldn't even talk to me. And you know, he called me up and told me, you know, he told me, he says, you know what, I'm so damn proud of you. He said, because you got a hell of a talk game and you got a hell of a freaking station. And he said, I didn't recognize that until I was at Prime House one night and we talking in Mississippi and you coming the hell in there with Mississippi and we looking in Mississippi. And he said, that's when I recognized that you got a hell of a station over there. And I said, you know what? Knock on wood, you know, it's been a lot of work in it. It was a lot of work. People think you can just come 10-8 overnight. It don't happen like that.
No way.
Like that. Learning your
Money
antenna,
can't even get you there.
yeah, money can't even get you there. It's, climbing up and down that antenna, seeing how it works and everything of the sort like that. How your station comes together. Because, I've had a pair of 800s. A pair of 800s didn't work good with my big box. I found the 3000. I had a
combo.
It's the right combo. You know what I'm saying? I have another driver, and Pete built me another baby driver, which really makes my box really go. But I like the 2500Zs. The 2500Zs give me that glass audio. You know what I mean? That excites that 3000. And that 3000 just excites them other tubes, and it's a method to this. People think, I'm a buy a drive. No, every drive ain't gonna match up good. Where you're gonna see that good capability of what your box can do. It's a method to it,
Yeah.
And I'm all Sneaky Pete. I even got Collins, that Sneaky Pete. Everybody don't even know he did radios. I got a freaking 32 V3 Collins that Sneaky Pete did.
Wow. I know you've been using a lot of the older radios. You got a Yaesu, you got a Leva Tram, you got a lot of old schools. But recently, when I've heard you on that Brownings, recently with that derail audio, I think that put you over the top. I think what derail did for you, I mean, it made your station sound a whole lot different. Not that the older stuff is not no good, because I'm running older stuff too, but he did something with that radio, because I could see the difference on this end.
It's funny how, and I had another driver, but when I matched that driver up, that radio up with them girls, them two bow-legged girls, it's just another speed. I mean, I swing out and I don't need no radio. Like people be talking about they need a radio to do big watts. I don't need a radio to do watts. I got boxes to do the watts. I just need a radio that gives me the good audio. Because I pride myself on audio. I pride myself, and a lot of people, when I got that radio, they was like, oh man, I don't like how they sound. But now they starting to understand, because it's a tweaking process, because we worked on it at his shop, but now you're bringing it back to my station.
Match everything up. Yeah, now you got to match everything up with it.
You got to fill it out to match everything up, so. But look,
definitely.
Go ahead.
I love it. I love it when you said it's got to match. It's a combination, because there for a while, I've thought that for so long, that I thought that I was just weird, but I proved it to myself. Inputs, they line up with other boxes better than just change out. You have to play with them. I know exactly what you're saying when you said 2 800s. They would work, but you take them 2 800s and then you take like a 4-1000, or you take 2 500Zs. It's just different, So I totally get what you're saying, but you know what, man? I've seen a different side of you, because I've never really had a one-on-one with you. We've talked on the phone, we've interacted, we've done some deals, wheels and deals, whatever we've did, right? No problems. Dealt with you in Pow Talk, ran across you in Pow Talk. I haven't never, put my hand in your hand at a break, but you coming on this podcast, I see a whole different side of you. I see who the man behind the microphone is. And that's why we started this, because it gives us that platform. It gives the people that platform to actually see who is the CEO of Sneaky Pete Nation. Who is this guy, and what does this guy come? What does he come from? What does he become as a man? How has he grown as a man in this game? And what has he done in this hobby? So now we see that point of view. We see the laughing, we see the serious, we see the kindness, we see the ego. You talked about the ego of how you was and what this was when you were this age, and why you leaning off on helping and mentoring, younger people. But I got you beat on one thing. I'm gonna make you laugh. You see this right here? Look at this. You see that? This is what you ain't got. You ain't got one of these shirts that say my antenna is bigger than yours. My dog. Hey, I had to mess with you. I had to mess with you, dog. I had to mess with you.
I ain't got one of them, you know. But
You got one of these.
I do got a big John Deere antenna though. You know,
You do. You do.
I do got a big John Deere antenna that, you know, and the crazy thing about it is me and John Deere, you know, we used to talk on the phone, so we ran these tests together. And when I ran this antenna, you know, JD said, yeah, I found something better. I said, well, I'm staying right with this one right here. I'm staying right with this 43-foot 6, but it ain't like a regular 6. You know, I say I'm staying with this. I got that big wide lobe up front, and then I got little lobes on the backside. You know, and people, you know, and I never forget JD said, you know what? I fought him going out to the West Coast, and it was I beat him going out to the West Coast. He said, you know what? I'm taking this damn antenna down. I'm putting your antenna back down. I'm putting your antenna, because he used to fight every game. John Deere, you know, I couldn't beat him. You know,
He's bad going to Cali.
It was bad going to Cali, and you know, I used to fight Painkiller going up to basketball. When I got this beam, me and John Deere worked on this beam, man, and I was going, you know, I lost 150 pounds. I was, you know, 400 pounds going up and down that damn ladder. I told John Deere, you trying to kill me. You know, I worked on the antenna for 3 days. 3 days going up and down. But when he put that antenna up, he said, damn, you know what? Now I'm able to run with Ebony King a little bit better. You know, because that was his competition. Him and Ebony King, that was his competition going out there.
Right.
You know? So, yeah, you know, antennas, you know, and Jimmy, you made me think, you know, antennas is the key.
It is. It is.
Prime
preaches it. A lot of people don't listen. You know, a lot of people think it's drag a box in the house. And, you know, people say, well, the pimp, he's got 2 tubes or he's got 3 tubes. Yeah, but you're hearing it from Pimp himself. He took 3 out. He left 2. He only runs 2 half mast. He hits the 2 with 2 500Zs. If pressure arrives, he takes 2 into 1. And you know, I mean, he's just, you don't give the impression, even though you have a lot of watts, you don't give off the impression that you're a watt driven fanatic. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of guys out there that I was one of them, you know, Mobile, 6 alternators, 6 power supplies, want 70,000, you know, you get whipped. You know what it comes down to is what I learned. And I'm gonna let you correct me if I'm wrong. Finding yourself, learning who you are in this game and getting in where you fit in the canal that's cut for your path, you know.
Well, you're hitting it on the button, because that is what it is, you know, and I had to learn that, because you know what? I wanted to force my way in. I wanted everybody to be calling and you know, telling me, you know, here I am, I'm beating on my chest, you know, with my station. It's not till I learned how to just talk on my radio and find my rhythm till people start recognizing and start giving me props on who I was. Like I said, I've been on this thing for coming up on 51 years. That's a long time to be on this radio. You know, I've seen it, you know, I've heard it, this, that, and the other, been through a lot. But you know, it's just finding that rhythm where you need to be in, just like you're saying, Jimmy, just that space, and then being cool with it. Like, I'm comfortable with, like, sometimes people hit me, you know, 1-800 Super Truck, you know, good talking station. You know, guys that hit me and they be like, yo, I keyed on the pimp. And I'm okay with not having to whip somebody all the time or not having to go. I'm okay with it. You know what I'm saying? That comes with growth. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That comes with growth. You know, some people don't want to get hit. As soon as they get hit, whoop, the knob goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But
you don't got nothing to prove.
I have.
You ain't gonna whip. Bottom line, you ain't gonna whip everybody every single time when it comes down to it. So you know, sometimes you got to take our lumps and let it slide or whatever. You know, it just got to go. Now the question, I know, man, I appreciate you coming on. You know what I'm saying? We know we're taking a lot of your time. I appreciate you staying with us, but I got to ask you one question. Where do you see? I know you've been on the band for 51 years. You done seen it. You know, sweep tubes, 8950s, 500Zs, now to where you are now. Are you gonna ride the new wave of technology when it comes about? Because you know the tubes are getting scarce. You know that, and all the components are getting real scarce. Are you going to be one of the guys to ride on the LD Moss when it comes to the future?
Nah, I'm it's crazy, man, but I'm just an old school. I love this, and when we built the station here, right? You got 3 tubes, right? So you got to have a couple of tubes in the stash. Stuff happen. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a couple of tubes in the stash. But and that is the way it's going. And I seen it coming. And people talk about it, the linear, and they talk about the wattage and things that you can do and stuff and so like that. And I tell you something, Dave, me and Dave Made is a good guy, man. And I remember years ago, because he don't bring everybody over to his house. He brought me over there, was showing me some of these things and stuff was like that. And I could see where it's going. I just didn't like, I don't know, just the linear part. I just didn't like it. It's just something about it. With the tubes, right? The glass, you heat up with the swinging. I just seen it. It was just so linear. You know what I mean? People can understand something. I can keep 10,000 and be getting my behind whipped, but I can keep 4,000 and swing the 10 and be the loudest damn thing out there. With those is linear. It's like you only can. I haven't seen them be able to swing. I seen them like, okay, you either can $5,000, that's what you can. You can take it up, you can 7,000, that's what you can. You can take it up to 10, that's what you can. And maybe I just haven't seen enough. Maybe they do swing, but from what I've seen, I just see them so linear, and it doesn't really impress me.
And it ain't for you. It ain't for you because you old school. It's kind of like how I feel.
Yeah. I'm just an old school guy. You know what I'm saying? And I tell you now, like I said earlier in this. I'm waiting for somebody to make that other move that I know I can do.
You're waiting for the push.
I'm waiting for that push. I'm waiting for that push.
And when is it that you recognize that that's push? Is it after a handful of butt whippings, or to where in your heart you're like, man, this dude's running with me. I might have to do something about it.
There you go. A real C beer knows when you getting your ass whipped and it's time to make a move. You know what I'm saying? You know, like
you know nobody to tell you.
You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to that point, I can be happy to take that 50K slug out and put that 100K slug in there, and let's get busy. Let's see. Let's see what we can do.
When you buy your car, a car every 3 years, 36 months, and she comes to you and she says, honey, I'm waiting on my new Mercedes. This lease, I'm going to turn it in here in a couple of weeks. When you go out there and you say, no, I'm just going to buy this bitch from the company and pay the extra $7,000. And you're going to drive that same damn car for another 7 damn years because I'm about to take these $15,000 and put this shit in somebody's pocket because I want this mall off my ass. Yeah, you said it right. A C beer, I don't know what it is, but you feel it. You feel it in your chest, man. You feel it. It's like a pneumonia that sets in on you when you get off that mall. Damn. I'm serious. Yeah, it's like a pneumonia, man. You can't breathe, man. You be like, man, I've been on that shit. And you get off that foot pedal, and they say, Bo Rogers, swamp weed, the big man on the Sunfire. That shit have you feeling some kind of goddamn way. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So you ain't going to buy nobody no damn Mercedes until you done weighed out all the damn shit in the basket. You understand what I'm saying? You're going to know who's getting the recycling part. You know who's getting the bank part, who's getting the big bucks part. I'm just telling you, am I right or am I wrong, Pim?
Look, you are 100% right. I tell you this. I never forget you know, my wife, I was blessed with a woman that wasn't into a lot of material stuff, this, that, and the other. So, you know, I would get her the material stuff. But I never forget when I got into CB, right? And she said, damn, every time I turn around, you buying some equipment, you know? And I said, hey,
they know.
Look, and I shut her up with this real quick one. I said, look, baby, it's either me get CB equipment or get a girlfriend. And she said, buy all the CB equipment you want.
Yeah.
Just buy all the CB equipment you want.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
You know,
Mine.
And look, my wife knew that this was my house. Because look, I used to get in my suburban. Skip would be out there. I used to get in my truck. I ain't had no but 16 pill. I used to drive 25 miles. Look, the Skip, I run out in my shorts.
You get a good spot.
Yeah.
To run to my spot. You know, now it's cool to kid, you know, when the Skip is rolling, you can go down there in your Fruit of Looms, just sit down, you know, the Skip. You know,
The shit you do, yeah.
Get dressed,
Yeah.
you know, go jump in the truck to go key. Then you get out there and skip.
Gas up.
They know, man. My wife is getting ready to go to Palestine, overseas, right?
Uh-huh.
And she stays on me every day. How much more do you have? How much more? I said, wow, what's the problem? What's the problem? You need to get this shit ready. You need to have this shit ready before I leave. You need to have this shit. She knows that if this shit's not ready, then I'll be bothering her. Hey, when you coming back? Hey, I'm over here barely eating. Hey, I'm not making it. Hey, I'm not living good. But she knows if that goddamn radio is out there in that shop, I ain't going to call. I'm getting out the car and I'm going in that shop. And then somebody got to try to drag me off that shit to get me back in the house and make me focus on. But she knows. They know. Me and Vinny, we talked about this over and over and over. We had a little situation where he had to pop up with something. And he said, hey, man, I got to go and I got to do this. I said, hey, man, I don't know what you got to do. Go in there and knock all the drywall out. But you better go in there and get what we got to have. Because if you don't buy this bitch tonight, you ain't getting it. You understand? So
That's right.
it is what it is.
I came, broke the wall down. Had a whole stack full of singles. Looked like I was going to a stripper club. But we got
we ride. You remember that shit, Pimp? We riding to Tampa. We going to get a power supply. We ain't got no shame, right? We ride 2:00 in the morning. We going to the power supply man's house like the dope boy. We going to get us a sack. You know, we going, but our sack ain't weighing an ounce. Our sack's weighing 1,000 pounds or better. You know what I mean? So we ride down the road. He hands me this wad of money. He's like, count this shit, dog. Count this shit. I'm like, count this shit. 5. Then you got 81s. I'm like, man, this is like dope money, man. What the hell is this, man? I couldn't even count it, dog. When we got there, I just gave all the shit to him.
Didn't even count it. It's like you get a little stash spot. Every day you get a little couple extra bucks. You throw it in there. I got $50 bill. Throw it in there. I got $5. Throw it in there. Next thing you know, you got a little backup plan. You know what I'm saying? When he said, man, when I blew the transfer, he said, we got to get this transfer. We got to go pick it up now. I was like, man, I can't pull that money out the bank. My wife going to kill me right now. I was like, you know what? Hold up. I went over there and pulled that. He said, you better do something because not that transfer was going to be gone in the next half hour. So I went in the wall. Got my little thing. I was like, here, I don't even know what's sitting there. Just count this shit. Let's go.
Hey, it's let me tell you something. This game right here, I remember jumping in the truck with a Stargate guy friend. We drove from up here to Tennessee, picked up the tube and the box, and drove back nonstop. That's how high we was to ready to key. Just want the key. That you talk about driving just to look, wanting the key. Just to having that rush of wanting the key wasn't going to be down.
Yeah.
Hell no, it ain't going to be down.
Yeah.
You drive till you tired. You know, that's
how you know you got it bad. It's like if something, let's say, for example, something happened to your box or your drive or something, and there ain't no skip. The cycle gone and no skip. Your box is down. You still like, you go to sleep, you're like, damn, my shit is down. But it's not so skip that you still thinking about it. That's when you know you got it bad.
That shit drive you crazy like a woman out there in your backyard. You can't even see her. That shit drive you nuts, man. You hear me?
No skip, you
ain't no skip for days. And you be over there sweating, can't even go to work, talking about, hey, you gonna stop by today? You gonna be able to stop by? Hey, but Pimp, Pimp, you know what? This is why I really people like you, man, that you can just shoot the shit with. It's like you sit around a table and cut up.
Enjoy
One of the
it.
funniest times that I had with this guy on my top side over here, riding down the road, he calls me. He says, "Man," he says, "my goddamn rotor done broke." I'm thinking to myself, I said, "Man, you got all these damn problems at this." And you know, you're one of those guys, man. When you go through it, you just go through it. It just rains, it pours. He
Yeah.
goes through it. I'm telling him, what do I go out there and say? "Hey, check this. Call me back." And he said, "No, it's the rotor, man. It's the rotor." I said, "Well, you gotta get a rotor." I said, "I know where a rotor is." I said, "You can grab this rotor." I said, "For a couple $100. I said, Okay. So we line something up, calls me back. "No, I'm just going to get a new one, but I can't do it just yet. I don't know what I'm going to do." "Hey, you looking at your phone?" I said, "Yeah, I'm looking at my phone." He said, "Look at your phone real good." I said, "I'm looking at my phone. I'm on speaker. I'm riding down the turnpike, right?" He says, "Are you looking at your phone?" I said, "Yeah, bro, I'm looking at my phone." He says, "I'm not buying that rotor right now." Like loud, right? I said, "All right, I understand." I hang up. I roll out my window. I spit out the window. I said, "Well, if that bitch wants to talk on the Super Bowl, he gonna buy that goddamn rotor tonight." Because I know what a junkie. I know how my boy is with that radio. If he want to talk on that radio, he gonna buy that damn rotor tonight. You understand what I'm saying?
Who you
So
telling? Look, shit.
funny, man. Funny.
Oh man, the stuff we go through. In reality, it comes with any hobby. Whether you do race cars, whether you fish on, you buy a boat, motorcycles. It's gonna cost you some money. And my wife's been very understanding because it's a hobby that, yeah, you spend some money, but I'm at home. You know what I mean? I'm just a earshot away. I ain't in no bars hanging out. I'm not
There
in the
you go.
racetrack. I'm not, I'm home. So she could see what's going on. And when I met my wife and we moved in together, first thing I did was look. In the Bronx. I looked at the building, see where I could put a damn beam. So she knows I've been talking 30 something years. I've been with my wife for 30 years. I've been talking for 35. So she understands that that's my love. That's my passion. That's what I really love. So, once you get something like that you have some understanding, everything goes a lot smoother. And plus, I'm home all the time. So that helps out a lot.
Yeah. You know, I never seen myself being able to be a homebody, right? Because when you're out in the streets and you hustling, you're doing things. I thought I was gonna miss something. Hell, I can't go in. I think I'm gonna miss something. And I used to want to be out there, and now I don't have to be out there. That's the whole purpose of putting what you want in your house, so you can be home. If I want to do something, I want to shoot pool. I got a pool table now. I shoot pool. You know what I mean? If I want to be on the radio, I can shoot on the radio. If I just want to sit,
Whatever you want to do.
yeah,
Right.
I mean, I'm sitting there talking to you guys. I got up at 5. I've been working third shift, right? They just moved me, and I'm working third shift, and I ain't been to sleep, man. And I used to do this when I was young. When I was young, man, I'd be up for 2 days, sleep 1 hour, go right back out,
Don't do
right?
that no more.
But we're talking about this hobby, man. This is how much I love this hobby. This is just how much I love this hobby, and I love teaching it. I love enjoying it, and passing on. And I'm also using it as, like I said, when you hear me out here now, I might sing that "Walk with Me, Lord," or I'll sing some things, of spirit, because I go right back to this. Only through God, grace, and mercy, man, I'm still standing. Believe me, I don't know how I'm still standing, because I thought I was a tough. Let me tell you something. Losing family members like that death will bring you to your knees.
For sure.
It will bring you to your knees. But look, I appreciate you guys so much, man.
Man, thank you. Man, I didn't even, when you have a good interview, it just kind of like, I didn't even look to the top left corner. The top left corner of my screen, I could see the time lapse, and it just flew by, man. Because I'm just enjoying you and enjoying your story, enjoying, talking to you about everything that we talked about. And
Relax.
It's been a
It's
pleasure.
chill.
Yeah, man, it's been a pleasure, man. And my props to you, bro. I look up to you, man. You one of the, if not the biggest hammer, but you and BA really struggling up there tassing. But I know you got that extra step over there. You got that little move you got to make over there. But I don't think you're gonna need it just yet. But man, my props to you, man. My hats off to you, being 10A for so long as you've been, and appreciate you taking the time to come on the show and telling us your story and just kicking it with us, man. We appreciate that.
Real talk.
It was my pleasure. I gotta say this here. I told Big Boss, I texted him and I gave him his props, right? And for being out there, this, that, and the other. But I told him, I said, you know what? The smartest thing you did to make me not take off for the rest of the week, you never ran no fives on me. And I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Because you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. You talk about competitive. If he'd have ran a 5 on me, I'd have took off. I'd have been sick the rest of the week. I'd have been sick the rest of the week.
The flu. You done came down with the flu.
I told him no. I told him I had COVID. I said I got COVID, man. I need 5 days. I need 5.
Yeah.
No.
Oh man.
That was a good time. That was a good time in the Northeast corner. It was a good time. It's a good time,
Yeah.
It's fun. This is if you get back to the basics of what this is about, what we intended is happening. Everybody's livening up, everybody's waking up, everybody's taking it serious again, everybody's taking off, and everybody's enjoying their radio. Is everybody happy? No. Is everybody gonna be happy? No. So it just is what it is. But like Vinny, like 413 said, man, can't thank you enough coming on the show, sharing your story, sharing your time, giving the viewers a chance to see who you are behind the microphone as a soul, as a human, living a lively, sinful, day-to-day, just making it deal, you know what I mean? And going through all the struggles that we go through as people. And it's crazy. It's crazy. Like I said earlier, you wake up at 4. I started at 5 this morning too. I think I walked out the house at 5:20. It's just, you never know, man. You never know. And it's like on a Friday when this podcast is due, it's like all the stuff that can happen to keep the show from happening. It's like, what do they say? It's like the devil in the making or whatever, so it just is what it is. But great story, great legacy you're going to leave, and I get this. I'm not going to ask you this because I got plans in the future. I'm not going to do the, hey, if you pass away tomorrow, what it's going to be, what it's going to do, what's your legacy? Because I got another thing that I haven't really broke bread with you about it, but I got something else that's coming in the near future. So you will more than likely be back on this show. So then when and I've got several that we're doing this with. So when we get to that point, we'll re-loop and then we'll come back and we'll get it at that point right there, my man.
Well, look, I appreciate it. Like I told you guys, I whatever you wanted to ask me, you got guys that say, man, I can't tell you when I'm running. I can't tell you what boxing. Look, ain't no shame in my game. I tell you when I'm running. Come and get it. Come and get it.
I like that. I like that.
You know what I mean? Come and get it. And I tell you, I told y'all I would be transparent. Whatever y'all wanted to ask me, it's no problem. You can ask me because, like I said, I'm doing this because I love the game. I love the game, and this is a hobby, man, that I wanted to be real. I want us to enjoy it. So I'm all pumped up because I'm going to Augusta. My parents live in Allendale, South Carolina. I haven't been to a break in a while. I'm taking, God willing, I'm taking my dad. I'm going to take him down there for half a day so he'll see Godfather and all the old time gang and this, that, and the other. I just got to keep him away from that doggone Crown Royal, man.
Yeah. Keep him off all that. He might have too much fun.
Yeah, my dad.
How old is he?
He's 90 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad is 90. My mom is 89.
Wow.
Wow.
And the
I hope I get that old and be like talking about my kids are trying to take the crown from me, the Crown Royal from me.
Hey,
that's a feat in itself, right there.
Yeah. I mean, the last time we was in Augusta at the last break, that was the last break he was at. He down there. He was so pumped up to go to the break, right? he packed his clothes up. He ain't packed no underwear. I said, Dad, you ain't no damn stripper. What the hell you doing? You ain't got no damn stripper. I said, so he was so pumped up, man. So I'm looking forward to bringing to the break.
Well,
That's awesome.
You're blessed to have them at that age, man. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the secret, Jimmy. Maybe that's the crown. Maybe we just got to drink a little bit crown.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I drink some crown. I drink that Hennessy though, but maybe you might want to stop.
Some good stuff too.
Yeah,
they ain't gonna like me. I'm just gonna keep it 100. I drink Crown and do this podcast. They ain't gonna like me.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna like me. They don't tell them what I might. They don't tell them what I might say.
I have to be like this.
Yeah, like, what I might say. I'm sitting up here listening to somebody's bullshit. I might tell them.
Look. See, that's what I have to do to him just in case.
Yeah, I go bye-bye. I'll be sitting there mid-sentence and be like, yeah, Jimmy, you started breaking up right there. Yeah, I'll be going bye-bye, So, yeah, man. But real good time, man. I really enjoyed you tonight. And I learned a lot of stuff from listening to your story. And I can't tell you what I would do or what kind of man that I would become if I had endured or went through, some of the stuff that you've went through. But I can tell you this, hearing the stuff that you went through and how you didn't end things and how you turned your life around and how you did this, and it gives positive thoughts to people, if they were to have to go through something like that. You're one of those type of guys that you can say, well, hey, it didn't end him. It didn't finish the pimp, Sure. So you never know who your story. It's just a story to you, but it can become reality to somebody new, like it once was to you. If that makes any sense, the way I worded that.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say this. I think God is using me in a manner because people that have gone through some deaths in their lives, and I reach out and I talk to them, because I understand, where they're at when you lose a child, and when you lose two children. I lost my only son, and then I have a daughter left, and I had 8 grandkids by my son. My son was a busy man. He had 8 kids. I have 8 grands, and all 8 was his. And looking at them in their face and stuff and so like that. So I always want to give back. If somebody's going through something, I'll give them a call. I talk to them. I let them know you can call me anytime because, man, 45 in Wisconsin, and my brother Tony Montana, JB, 23. Freight Train, these guys reached out to me, when I was at my lowest. And when my wife passed in Philly, who was the first person there at that funeral and asked me, did I need anything? Was bad attitude.
Well, I was on the phone with him when he went over there. And not only that, when I went through what I went through with my grandson, you was one of the guys that called me ASAP as well.
Oh yeah. Because we need to look out for each other, man. We need to be there for, because that's tough times, man. That's tough times. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you just need the victors. Because when I don't like somebody to call you and tell you, say, man, I know how you feel, and you ain't never been through it. How can you tell me how they feel and you never been through it?
Can't.
You can't. And that's, I've been shot. I've been all kinds of stuff that happened to me. But let me tell you something. That pain right there is worse than any pain you ever had.
Mm-hmm.
But look, I can talk to you guys. See, I'm getting too comfortable with y'all, man. I got to go.
Hey, but before you go, I was gonna tell you. I seen a picture. Legends like you guys. When you go to a break, people snap all kind of photos, and I had noticed that you was a little bit more chunkier in them photos. And then when I seen you tonight, it happened so fast I didn't even think about it. I said, man, he lost weight. And then I heard you talk about it. You said you lost like 150 pounds. So congratulations to to the weight removal, I know you feel better.
Let me tell you something. It started, you know, when I was just going through some things, but you know, I started getting healthier, eating a little bit better, this, that, and the other, taking care of myself. And look, you know, I feel good. You know, I feel good. You know, I might be able to get in the ring and go 3 rounds now. You know, you know, but I feel good.
And JD had you climbing that damn tower up and down. That had an effect on it too.
Look, I lost about, I'm gonna tell you something, messing with that darn antenna with John did, God bless his soul. I had to lose about 15, 20 pounds that 3 days messing with that antenna. And he kept telling me, you know, he was a sergeant major. Look, man, you ain't tired. You ain't tired. You want to talk? Them boys in the Northeast corner talking. You a mud duck. What the?
Yeah, he had some words, didn't he?
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, you know.
Hey, this is the first now, Jimmy. Out of all the shows, Pimp is the first one that's actually saying goodbye to us. We're not saying goodbye to him.
Yeah. I know. It is.
I gotta go.
I gotta go. He wants to go to bed. All right. Hey, Pimp. Love you, man. Everybody, y'all seen it right here. Poconos Pimp. That's him, live, living color, the one and only legend, the legend, Poconos Pimp. There you go. And all his belts that he got from Prime's Function. He got from Prime's Function. How many people did you make cuss real quick over those belts?
I had a lot of people cussing, man.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Everybody.
I'm gonna tell you something. The first belt, I had people cussing, but then after that, really people start recognizing what I was doing in this Northeast corner. So it really wasn't like that. But at first, yeah, it was a totally different thing. Yeah. You know, it's a totally different thing. But it's all good.
Right. All right, my man. Everybody, y'all got it here. Everybody, I'm gonna plug Prime Minister's room. Y'all check us out, Minister's House, Super Bowl Bosses. There's a few people up in there right now, and we getting ready to head that away as soon as we get off this podcast and call it an evening, no doubt about it, man, because Lord knows, hey, you wrapped it. I'm going to cap it. I'm going to take us on home. You can ride it all the way out with us. It don't matter to me, man. We already this deep in the mix, man. So we talked about the break a little bit earlier, not the break, but the competition. If you didn't catch what our plans are on the competition, we're going to probably pause for about a week or two, and we're going to find out if we're going to stay with Region 3 where it's listed, or if we're going to have to postpone Region 3 and go ahead and jump to Region 4. Whatever. Keep up with us on the book. We'll be updating you guys. We'll be updating the ladies and the gentlemen through this process. Bear with us, and we'll get through it because all of us are CBers, and we know at the end of the day what Skip's doing. And without Skip, we cannot have the competition that we're trying to bring to the platform. Again, want to thank Poconos Pimp, thank co-host, and thank all you guys, because without you guys, there's no show, no go. Put it on y'all later.
Love you guys.